Hello and welcome to week 6 of the Pro Chess League, and the me and Fiona are back. So we're looking forward to some great chess. We've got some brilliant things lined up this week, and we've got some very special players playing. So do stay tuned for the matches that are coming later on. It's going to be very exciting. And Fiona, how are you feeling this week?
I'm very well. I'm very happy to be back. I've had a couple of weeks off. We were playing together on Saturday, which is why we couldn't do commentary. But I'm very happy to be back and doing this show with you. It's the first time we get to commentate on world champion Magnus Carlsen's game, so I'm really excited for that.
Certainly. I mean, I can't wait. So, as Fiona's just said, Magnus Carlsen is playing today. So, we're going to watch Magnus Carlsen. Yeah! That's going to be great. I can't wait to, one of the best players of all time. Maybe he will be the best player of all time. And we're going to be commentating live on his game. So, you certainly should stay tuned for that one later on. And what time are the games starting today, Fiona?
Well, the games are starting in 5 minutes, but I think Magnus' match, which is a crucial, and we'll come back to that in a second, a crucial matchup, the Norway Gnomes against the Daily Dynamite, who are the leaders of the Eastern Division. I think that's starting in about half an hour from now, so don't go anywhere. It's going to be a big, big match, and I think Magnus didn't have a choice but to play today because as far as I know, the Norway Gnomes will have to win their two remaining matches to stand a chance to qualify for the playoffs.
Yeah, well, talking about the cross table, we can see just above our heads there that we have the matches that we're going to be following later on. But for everyone out there, and of course, it's going to take a while to fill up, hopefully, in the Twitch studio. But let's just show people what is happening in the cross table so far, and show people where the teams are standing. So I'm just going to bring up the cross tables now, and hopefully everyone can see the leaders there on the right-hand side of the screen. So we can see Delhi Dynamite are actually leading the Eastern Division. And we'll bring up the...
They have only drawn one match so far and won four, so that's quite impressive.
Yeah, they must have really... They're qualified already, aren't they, Fiona? So
I would suppose so.
Yeah, I mean, the ones, we are sort of... as Fiona mentioned, the Norway Gnomes are really... They need to win both their matches, because how many teams go through to the next round, Fiona?
By the way, Simon, before we continue, can we just... A couple of people telling me in the chat on Chess.com that your mic is a bit louder than yours and that they can't hear me very clearly. So, yeah.
Okay.
If you could just turn up my mic a bit, there's a couple of people. So as usual, we'll come back to the standings in just a second, but I will be keeping an eye on the chat, both on Chess.com and on Twitch, mostly on Chess.com, because as every week, we are giving away a one-month diamond membership. So for whoever contributes the most interesting comments, nicest comments. So yeah, we are working on the microphone issue just now. As usual, yeah, any feedback, use the chat on chess.com/TV or Twitter, #ProChess.
Sure, okay, so hopefully the mic thing's going to be sorted, and we'll try to get the same levels here, of course. I have to say, Fiona, you're looking very fresh. I mean, you said you've been away for a bit, and we must let everyone know. I mean, we've done loads of commentary. You've basically been chilling out in the sun for about a month, haven't you?
I have, yeah, which is why I look a bit tan, more tan than usual, I'd say. And it's the first time I'm streaming from home, actual home, so a new experience. And by the way, there was also, I was saying the reason we didn't commentate on Saturday was that we were playing in the Differential, and there was someone in the chat saying, but first, congrats again, Cheddleton, on cementing your position in top Differential with last weekend defeat of Barbican. So thanks for that, She Beast. And yeah, I should congratulate you, Simon, because you played a masterpiece, and people can and should check that out on YouTube.
Well, thank you. It was very kind. I mean, obviously, I've got an all right captain, so it's easy to play well. And we do play in the same team, and we are, of course, good friends. And You can certainly see the difference in colour in our faces. We got me with the white face, obviously
It's
being.
maybe a good thing we're not streaming from the same place
Oh,
today.
it would be pretty bad, you know. I mean, I would have my look at the difference in colour. You can see that someone's had a holiday and someone hasn't had a holiday. So it's quite funny that, you know. But you're certainly looking fresh, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
I have to say, I'm quite curious what you would look like after a month in the sun.
I would. Have you ever seen a tomato before? I would. I would look like a tomato. Let's just put it that way. I would look very tomato-like. So maybe one day I'll have a month in the sun, but not quite yet. And okay, well, we can see the standings here as well. I mean, the first game's due to start any second now, so we'll keep an eye on that. But at the moment, the standings which we have, we can see that there's some teams who look pretty guaranteed to go through. So the Delhi Dynamites, the Dire Wolves, Budapest Gambit doing very well, and the Stormbringers. But then below the top four, these teams must be quite nervous because it is only, did you say 5 teams, Fiona, that go through to the next?
Teams.
6 teams.
Go through from every division. So that's 24 teams going through. And then, yeah, we will get to quarterfinals, semi, and finals.
Perfect. And of course, there's only now 2 more rounds to go in the qualified stages, and it's going to get extremely exciting because we come to the knockout. But in the 2 rounds that are ready to go, this is one of them. And like we say, we've got Magnus Carlson playing today, so going to be very interesting. And
by the way, we have Greg Shahadi in the chat telling us that the teams on 3 out of 5 are not guaranteed to go through yet. So it's going 2 very exciting weeks, this one and the next.
Certainly, yeah, going to be very interesting. And let's just have a look at the division on the world map that we're actually covering, just in case anyone's new to this. And just going to bring up the world map now. And me and Fiona are covering basically the Eastern Division. So that is all the teams that are in orange there. So all the orange teams, we're covering them. And today is a big chess day because when we finish, there's going to be more commentary. And basically, we're going to be going from the left of the map to the right of the map to the left. Me and Fiona are doing about 3.5 hours of commentary, but after us, you've got some other brilliant commentators covering the other teams. So very exciting. And the prizes, Fiona, I mean, the prizes, which I'm just bringing up now, they're good prizes, aren't they? Brilliant prizes.
Yeah, huge prizes. You are putting me on the spot here because I can't even remember the prices exactly after my holiday break.
Too much sun. Too much sun, not enough work.
All sort of trivia from my break. So yeah, I'll let you take us to the prizes.
Okay, well, the prizes are very big, and of course, what Chess.com are doing here is trying to start something completely new. So you've got to applaud them. You've got to applaud everyone who's helping this. And of course, they're learning as they go along, so all feedback is welcome. And really, the aim of this is to make chess an e-sport and try to improve it, try to make it big, try to just really make it into something massive for everyone. And the prizes there are kind of reflecting that. We have first prize at $20,000. So that is not a shabby amount of money. Second prize, $10,000. So that's good money, isn't it, Fiona?
Mm-hmm. It's great money, and we see there are a lot of individual prizes as well. We have top female player rating categories, and I really like the weekly prizes as well for best game, best move, best blog, best video, best streaming, best social media. And I have been mostly impressed by just how into it the teams have gotten. I see so much action on Twitter, on Facebook, people streaming their matches live. So it's great. I think it really is giving chess a whole new boost.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, you know, it's something that obviously, Chess.com are trying to improve each week and month. And I think they're doing a great job of that. So all support is good. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, as we get to the final stage is brilliant. And even getting people like Magnus playing in the teams is just great. But all the feedback is brilliant we're getting. Is there a best ginger prize, Fiona? There should be.
I'm not sure, but if there is, I think you're unrivaled.
Unrivaled. Good. Best pale ginger prize. That'd be it. And best brown suntan prize, of course, goes to the lovely Fiona. Wouldn't that be weird if my hand came through in her screen there? Look at that. Wouldn't that be weird if my hand suddenly appeared? I've never tried that before. Can you see what I'm doing? And I suddenly pat you on the head. No, okay, we can't do that. So, right. So I think we have some games started, Fiona.
We have some games started, and just before we go there, for those of you who joined us slightly late, Magnus Carlsen, the one and only current world champion, is playing today. And I think his match, and again, it's not just about Magnus, but his team, the Norway Gnomes, are playing a crucial match against Daily Dynamite, who are the leaders of the Eastern Division. The Norway Gnomes will have to win to stand a chance to go through to the playoffs. So that match will start in roughly 25 minutes.
Yes, certainly. So we're definitely going to be concentrating on that. I mean, we're mainly going to concentrate on 2 matches today, we've kind of decided. And before we do go to the games, let's just show everyone, but the matches haven't started yet. This is the individual pairings today. So you can have a look at the actual players playing there, which we haven't brought up yet. And, of course, there's some very big names. I mean, Magnus, of course, everyone wants to see Magnus. So we're going to have a look at the Mumbai Movers concentrating this match versus the Regal Magicians and the Norway Gnomes. So these 2 ones are the key games for us today.
And by the way, we have a tweet from the Johannesburg Kirk sisters saying, starting in 10 minutes against Amaravati Yodas in the battle for last place.
Okay.
I like how the people are taking all of this. I mean, even though they won't go through, it's still great fun. It brings people together from all over the world and just doing something which they like to do. And yeah, it's just been an excellent experience.
Certainly has. And so they're the games we're concentrating on, but we do have some games started, Fiona. So shall we just go and move into the action and hopefully see what we got in store? So the first match we're going to look at here, and I believe this is, let me just have a look at the individual pairings so we can work out who's playing who. And I hope I got the right match here, Fiona. And this is, a match between the Nomads and the Budapest Gambits. And on paper, this is a big mismatch, isn't it, Fiona? Because we can see, going back to the game, we have one of the highest rated players for Budapest, and this is Oliver, who is over 2,500, and he's playing against Kim, who is a massive rating difference. So we want an upset here, don't we? I believe an upset, got to be. We want an upset. We always like upsets.
We always want upsets.
Yes. So on to the game. And we are just, by the way, just changing volume as we go. So do let us know if the volume's okay. And people are saying you look younger, Fiona. I have to agree. This is what the sun does. It's lovely, yeah? So makes people...
See, which chat are you on? The Chess.com chat?
I'm on the Twitch chat at the moment. So and of course we are going to be looking at both the Chess.com chat. So leave your messages there, and the chat on Twitch as well. So do leave your messages, and we'll keep an eye on
that's very kind of you, Greytown. But if you want the 1-month diamond membership, you'll have to leave your compliments in the Chess.com chat. If you don't have a membership yet, if you're not a member yet, you can register for free. It will only take a second. And I will mostly be keeping an eye on the Chess.com chat to find out who we will be giving the 1-month free membership away to.
That's right, yeah. So and that's, you have to be nice on the Chess.com chat to obviously do that. No, not too much bad talk, which we sometimes get, don't we? We sometimes get the bad elements, Fiona.
Sometimes, but not so often.
Yeah, not so often. It's normally very good, and
they're very kind.
They are. I mean, most of the crowd is lovely in the chat, so it's really good. And okay, we'll just have a look at this game. Just diving into some of the actual chess action. I know this opening incredibly well. It's an opening I play with black, and this is the game I had for your team, Fiona, or should I say our team, Cheddleton. Our team on Sunday. I had this precise opening, and just going back to the opening, just if anyone's wondering how this game started, this G6 move, followed by Bishop G7, is the so-called Tiger's Modern, when you play it with A6. This A6 move was an idea that Swedish Grandmaster Tiger Hillett Persson made popular. And the idea is to start an attack over here, a bit like a Sicilian, whilst white starts an attack on the king side. So you get very interesting positions. And you can see here, that both sides are going for this, with white pushing. What's always a good move, Fiona? What's always a good move? Harry. Harry 4. Harry 4. So Harry 4 is always a good move. And after this, well, we get to the current position. Black stops Harry in its tracks. And here, well, white now changes plans. White could continue, and the way I think white should continue these positions normally is by putting the knight into g5. This is the way I always play it, because the knight is very dangerous there. But instead he goes a4, and this means he can't castle queenside anymore, so it's not quite as exciting. And we get to the current position with this standard kind of structure here, where I expect the higher rated player will maybe do the job eventually. What do you reckon? Is it going to be an upset? Do we have an upset on the cards?
I think it's very early to judge, but the difference in rating is so enormous that I think white will struggle. I think there's nothing wrong with his position right now, but
yeah,
it's an almost 700 point rating difference. So
it is. And we can already see that if we have a look at the scoreboard, and you can see the live results are going up as we're talking along there. Budapest Gambits have already taken 1 point lead, and they are quite big favourites to win this match, and they'll be very disappointed if they don't get the victory here. I mean, if we think about Budapest, Fiona, they've got quite strong. Hungary have got quite a strong chess nation, haven't they? There's some good players.
They do. I mean, Richard Rapport, of course, is a name that's coming up. He didn't have the best of showings in Vaikanzi, which was maybe his first appearance on such a big stage, although he might have played Vike before, but he will get another chance. He's playing in the Grand Prix series, which is starting shortly. So I think he's only one of the many young players coming up, but he's, of course, the one we're mostly keeping an eye on, and very interesting player.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, he didn't have a great vacancy, but he did have a brilliant result beating Magnus Carlsen. Yeah. So we can't forget about that. It's a pretty awesome to beat someone as strong as Magnus Carlsen. And of course, Hungary and Budapest in particular have tradition of the Pogar sisters, who are world famous, and also Peter Leko, who is a very strong player, quite famous for taking draws. Lovely tactic there. Look at that tactic, Fiona. Knight takes e4. And we can see now the higher rated player is starting to take control. And this is the kind of small tactic that you really have to keep your eyes open for. And the point behind this is that the bishop on g7 is now released, and that bishop will jump into d4 with check, pick up the bishop there. But I'm wondering at the end, is there a rook b1? Oh my words, why didn't he take that? Wasn't maybe there? Was potentially white winning? I mean, if we go back, if he'd taken the knight, he had a rook b1 at the end. Wasn't that winning, Fiona? I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm confused as well.
I think that white got scared there, and he's just dropped a pawn for nothing. But potentially in this position, if he'd have taken on e4, if people can calculate this, after black takes both knights, you just go rook b1 and you're winning a piece. So that could have been a very big upset. I think it would have been a piece anyway. So strange. And
by the way, Greg Shahadi was telling us a second ago that the 1 point Budapest won, well, they won nil up, is because the opponent didn't log into the server on time.
Didn't log on to the server on time. Okay, right. So there you go. It was quite a funny incident, Fiona. We should say we had a team meal for our live team, our team Cheddleton on Sunday, but one of our players on the Saturday, should I say, was playing in the Pro League chess. So halfway through the meal, he had to abandon his pizza and he had to run down the road to get to the computer in time. That was quite funny, wasn't it?
This was quite funny, especially, I mean, he'd enjoyed a few drinks before we even went to the restaurant, so we had to remind him what time it was.
I'd say a few drinks. I would say a fair few. Should we say a bucket load of drinks? So apparently he has some homemade wine. So do you think other teams prepare in the Pro League chess by drinking their homemade wine before the matches?
Maybe. maybe.
Maybe. I think it's doubtful.
Yeah.
Somehow.
And by the way, I also saw in the next, after we are done here, so the Central Division, our teammate and good friend David Howe will be making his debut as well. So I shall be following that.
Oh, right. Brilliant. So there's going to be some massive games going on. I mean, on Saturday, we had Fabiano Caruana play and Magnus Carlsen and Wesley So. I mean, it really is drawing out all the best players in the world, isn't it? This pro league, and it seems to be doing extremely well. Now, by the way, just continuing with the game, we can see now in the current position that Black has really picked up a very safe pawn. White maybe missed an opportunity to play this Rook B1 move. Might have been winning a piece, and this is the kind of position you just, it's horrible because Black has an extra central pawn, and having an extra central pawn is very good. But more importantly, now that White's lost the E4 pawn, if you see where that square is highlighted, it means there's a very nice outpost on D5. If you look at this square here, Black controls this square with all of his pieces, and White can never play a pawn move to kick a piece away when it gets to D5. So as well as being a pawn up, positionally speaking, Black is also doing well. And again, he's taking more control of this square. It looks like a completely winning position to me, Fiona, for Black, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. And by the way, just because we're repeatedly asked when Magnus is going to play, Magnus will start, I believe, in about 15 minutes from now. So don't go anywhere. And that also means that in a roughly 5 minutes, another big match is going to begin. And that's the one between the Mumbai Movers and the Riga Magicians. The Riga Magicians, one of the teams we've followed quite thoroughly. They've played some fascinating chess, some very tense battles. So that's going to be a good one. And I believe Grandmaster Vidit from India, I think he's making his debut, if I'm not mistaken.
He's actually playing at the moment, Fiona. I suggest we go over to that game now. And the last game looked like it was going in the favour of the higher rated players. So Vidit's a very strong player. And if we just bring up the individual pairings before we have a look at this match, I'm just trying to find Vidit now on the pairings. Hopefully I haven't. There he is. He's playing for the Mumbai Movers, and this is the game we are concentrating on now. And this is the match really we're going to spend a lot of time on until Magnus comes along and honours us with his presence. And Vidit's very strong, isn't he, Fiona? Really strong Indian player.
I mean, he's very young. He's only 21, I believe. He wasn't in Vaikanze. He was a second. He's been a second for Anish Giri for a while, but he's also really starting to make a name for his own as a player, not just as a second.
Sure. So, Fiona, if I'm just going to quickly make one small adjustment at my end. So, while I don't know if you can see the game, but maybe some of the other pairings in that match you might want to mention.
I'll talk you through the pairings. So the match that has just started between the Mumbai Movers and the Riga Magicians. The Riga Magicians are once again spearheaded by their strongest players and their strongest player, and that is Igor Kovalenko, Grandmaster from Latvia. He used to be 20. And he used to be 2700, and when Simon and I covered the matches of the Riga Magicians in the early weeks of the Pro Chess League, he was often a crucial element to the Riga Magicians. I think he took a couple of weeks off as he was playing a tournament. I think he was playing in Lisbon, an Open in Portugal, but it's good to have him back, and I believe his clash against Vidit in the last round will be crucial because this is quite an evenly matched pairing here. The Mumbai Movers have an average of 24-27. Riga Magicians slightly higher average of 24-87, so a 60-point higher average. But I can see this being a very close match because I don't know too many of the Indian players there on the Mumbai Movers team, but I know from experience that a lot of these Indian players tend to be very underrated. I could imagine them being quite young, so maybe making up for the rating deficit in talent and in young age.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, if we just, again, we're just waiting here for White to make a move in this match. And let's just bring up the individual pairings one more time, and just so everyone can see what we're concentrating on here and the players. And if you look,
And by the way, people are praising your sound work, so thanks a lot for fixing that, Simon.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Hopefully we're going to get the right level soon. And of course, it takes a little bit of adjustment. But we've got a long stream, so we want to try to make it as best production as we can. So do give us feedback. We do change things on the fly. That's what the internet is all about, basically. Now, if you now you're too loud, Fiona. Great. So I'm going to bring my volume up. I've never heard anyone say you're too loud. So we're just going to. It's actually okay.
I think people are saying the sound is fine. So let's just wait for a couple more people.
Yeah, okay. So now if we have a look at the Mumbai movers, this is just having a look at the matches. Some of the people mentioned there, well, Vidit is a very strong player. People have tipped him as being a potential world champion even, very young. And Kovalenko are the two stars of this team. And this match is going to be very close. And if we just have a look at the cross tables to see what these guys are fighting for, the Mumbai movers, and also if we have a look also at their opponents, so the magicians, you can see that both of these teams kind of desperately need a win. Well, I say desperately need a win. I mean, it is really, this is a big match for them. A loss here could get them in trouble. So I think it's a key encounter. So every game is critical. And going back to Vidit's game now, it doesn't seem like we've got an update of moves quite yet. So I'm just going to try and see if I can just see if it's a refresh job here, and we'll see if the moves are going to come through. And we have lots of moves coming through, and let me just get another game ready. So, Magnus Carlsen is playing, by the way. Magnus Carlsen. Let's go straight to Magnus.
I sometimes think we just like to chat too much. At least I myself know I like to chat too much. So Magnus has started already, so that probably means I was off by 10 minutes. And the Norway Gnomes started at 4:30 Greenwich Mean Time. So shall we go to Magnus?
We are on Magnus now, and what an opportunity for his opponent, because his opponent, is only 2,200. He may be a young player, and all of a sudden,
I'm just looking him up now.
And in his first game, he encounters Magnus Carlsen. I mean, unbelievable. And
he's only 16 years old, so a very young player.
16 years old. And talking about Tigers Modern, well, Magnus is playing it as well, because this setup with G6 and D6 is a very popular way of going for a win. It's an exciting opening, isn't it, Fiona, this opening? It's a really interesting way of getting a unique position.
I mean, especially when one watches you play them. You're an expert now that you recorded this series with Tiger. I really enjoyed your game on Sunday, I have to say. So yeah, it's a game that leaves a lot of space for some nice attacking chess, and but also some nice counter attacking chances for black. So usually no dull games in the modern.
Certainly agree. And this is Magnus. I mean, Magnus did well on Saturday, and I think he's getting quite into Pro League. And now, of course, the team Norway Gnomes, in order to qualify, they need to win both matches. And he really needs to win, I would say, at least get 3.5 out of 4 for his team, because they have to keep, let's not forget, an average rating of 2,500 throughout the team, meaning that they have to put in some lower rated players to average out his rating. And now, do you think that's a good strategy, by the way, Fiona? Do you think it's a good idea do you think you should have one top player like Magnus and then 3 lower players, or at all good 2,500, 2,400 players? What would you go for?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, this. I think Norway, they are lucky that because the rating cutoff was a few months back, they have one young player, I believe. At the time the rating was taken for the Pro Chess League, he was 2,100, roughly 2,100, and he's now close to 2,500. So that is unbelievable, of course, and a big boost for the Norway team. So I think if you have youngsters in the back who are underrated, I would probably choose someone like Magnus, a random strong player on the top board, and then complement him with the up-and-coming young players. But then I think, for example, the Regal magicians, or we've seen also the turtles, what are they called? The Ljubljana direwolves. They always play with a consistent team, and I think that's also a very good strategy. So, something to be said for both.
One thing we should mention is that even though Magnus is like 28, astronomical, 2,800 plus, for the league purposes, anyone over 2,700 rating only counts as 2,700. So it does encourage, shall we say, some of the top stars to play, and that's really what we want to see. We want to see the top stars playing.
And by the way, Tari Swenson is in the chat on Chess.com, and he's telling me, Fiona, he was not 2,100, he was 1,927, and he is now 2,468.
Okay.
So he has gained over 500 rating points in just a few months, which is unbelievable. I mean, those are the wonders of the K Factor 40, of course.
Yeah, and we're talking about the young Norwegian player who's going to be a great star in the future, of course. And
his name is Magnus Carlsen, also courtesy of Tari.
Yeah. So going back to Magnus's game, I'm just going to reload the game now, and we can see that Magnus has played this A6 move, and it seems to be a bit of a theme. The two games we've looked at so far have both been Tiger's modern, and Tiger, this grandmaster from Sweden, has written a number of great books on this opening, and the point of A6 is really to try and embarrass the knight on c3. So it only really works when there's a knight on c3. And you try to embarrass this knight by going b5, b4. And this gives you more control of the centre, because what this opening is here, it's White playing a classical system. White is playing classical because he's taking control of the centre, and that is how chess players, one of the first thing top chess players started to do. They said the centre is very important. And Black is playing what we call a hyper modern setup, and that means he's trying to attack the centre from the sides. So he tries to attack it from the sides with the bishop there, and from the other sides with the bishop there. So it's really a battle between two strategies. And with the idea of b5, b4, you're trying to misplace the knight, so you actually attack the centre indirectly. So it's that's why you get these interesting dynamic battles. And have you ever played like this, Fiona? Have you ever played this way?
Well, yes. Sorry, Simon. I have played this way before. I was just trying to bring up the other pairings from that match, and I got hooked by the game where Abhijit Gupta, who is the top-rated player for the Daily Dynamite, he has quite an interesting position. So I was just looking at that when he put me on the spot about the other game. So
I've just say, okay.
Yes, I have.
Okay, sorry. I've just been said that the H file was cut off there as well, so I apologise for that, because we just had to refresh the board. But no moves were played anyway, so it wasn't a big deal in the actual position. We've got the H file back now. How could I do that to Harry the H file? How could I cut off the H file? My favourite file, the H file, and I had it cut off. Unbelievably bad show there, Simon. And and
Greg is pointing out, which is true, already a huge time match for Magnus. He still is over 14 minutes. His opponent down to under 10. So after just 7 moves, that is quite a bit.
And we have one more move. Now, White has tried to play a little bit of an aggressive move, e5. And now Magnus has dropped his knight back to d7. And this is a very typical plan from Black, because you try to prove now, again, it's this battle about White's centre being overextended and Black trying to attack that, when, for example, this pawn here, Black is trying to prove it is a weakness. Now, I think I know why White has spent so much time, Fiona. Do you want me to tell you why?
Why?
Because he's on the phone to his whole family. He's picked up his phone. He goes, Mum, I'm playing the world champion. I'm playing Magnus. Yeah. I think that's what he's doing at the moment. He's ringing everyone he knows. So
that's quite possible.
Yeah.
So Simon, can we quickly go to the game between FM Johannes H, shall I say? And that's Johannes Haug against Abhijit Gupta.
We can indeed. So, and this is another. Oh, this is an interesting one. So this is okay. Well, let's just. This is the same match, and this is the key match. Norway need to win this match, and this is the top board.
And I just wanted to point out earlier, because you said you think Magnus needs to score get a big score today, like at least 3.5 out of 4. And I was just going to point out that last week Magnus only got 3 out of 4 against the Montreal Chess Bros, and that was the crucial difference between winning and losing the match, because the Norway Gnomes lost the match by the smallest of margins, 7.5 to 8.5. So had Magnus not dropped this 1 point, they would have won the match. He was, of course, held to draws by Caruana, who is not a bad player himself, but also by Aman Hambleton in a great achievement for Aman.
Yeah, certainly. And I think, rather than dive into the current position, I just want to see where things got a bit funky here. Because something funky happened. Crazy
position. If I were white, I wouldn't be too happy with my king on G1 here.
No, let's just go. So I'm just going to go back to move 7, Fiona, and I'm just going to see where the tactics started. And, well, again, the player of the white side is only an FM, but he's very young, and he's probably one of the future talents of Norway chess, I'd imagine. And, okay, we see here again, it's a bit like a Tiger's Modern, and now white goes for an aggressive option, and he attacks in the centre with this E5, but he does do some damage to his pawns here. And now, well, he goes F4, so he's playing very aggressively here, and bishop E4, and now very interesting idea from Gupta. Gupta could have simply moved his rook here, but instead, Gupta goes for a sacrifice. He sacrifices his rook in order to try and get rid of the one active white piece, the bishop on E4. White grabs the rook, and this is, why not? If you're going to be offered a present, it's rude not to take it. And he castles kingside. Gupta gets 1 pawn for the exchange. But after bishop takes, and a capture here, knight takes E5, there's a big threat of knight to F3 check. You've got to avoid this. The combination of that knight and queen could be pretty deadly. So he goes pawn to F3, and now A5, trying to keep the rook out the game. The current position is after queen E4. Very interesting, Fiona. Could this be an upset?
Possibly. And I mean, as I said, we talked earlier about would you rather have one strong player and the other lower rated. Talking of which, I said if you have young and up and coming players, Tari is telling us in the chat, the game we're just looking at Johannes, how he's only 16. And then he said, actually, Magnus Carlsen is the only player on the team of the Norway Gnomes to be older than 19. So that's quite incredible.
So Magnus Carlson is the veteran of the team today.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening in this position.
Well, it's very interesting. I mean, if we just count materialistically what's going on to start with, we can see that white is points up. White has, materialistic speaking, an extra exchange. Yep. Black only has 1 pawn for that, Fiona. And I think with the last move...
No, black... Oh, yeah, 1 pawn. I can't even... Yeah, 1 pawn for the exchange.
1 pawn. And I think with the last move, Fiona, what's happening is, I mean, it's a great tactic from the white side, is that when you're material up, you aim to swap off material. And I think this move here probably forces the exchange of queens. And isn't white just going to be... And the queens have come off.
They have come off, yeah. And it feels like white has stabilized his position here. I don't think black really has any compensation here.
I mean, I think black maybe has something because these pieces control some very nice squares in the centre of the board. I would still take white, though. But white does need to get his pieces in the game, I guess, Fiona, because
I would quite like to do something with my with my passed B pawn. It's a bit early now. I'd probably maybe just develop a piece with knight A3. Okay,
that's been played. You know what? I think this could be a major upset. I mean, this could be a great start for the Norway Gnomes. If the bottom player in your team on rating beats the highest, Grandmaster Gupta, legendary Gupta, that's a great start. I mean, could this be a major upset then, Fiona?
I mean, if Hauk manages to win this game, it's a huge upset.
Yeah.
Especially in this since the format of the Pro Chess League was changed. When we started off, the top 2 players were facing each other in the first round. Nowadays, which I think makes a lot more sense, and it makes the matches more exciting. So the top-rated player of a team plays the bottom-rated from the other team. So if the bottom-rated player manages to create an upset in round 1, that's a huge, a crucial win for one team, I would say.
Sure. I mean, we will go back to Magnus in a second. Just one more thing I'd like to mention about this game, because we'll have a look at this because it's a major upset, and we'll keep an eye on Magnus, is that knight to a3, and then just put a rook on the d file. Okay, well, white's done it the other way around. White has decided, well, I'm going to take control of the open file, and all that white needs to do here is really get his final pieces into the game. And one thing that's going to be very dangerous for black is the pass b pawn. So, you know, the last move I'm not so sure about. Black's now getting tricky with a threat of knight to e3 check, but it's still, you know, okay, the rooks come in. And I still think white is just doing fantastically well here. Okay, but now black's getting rid of the b pawn.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But can I play knight a3 now?
Well, knight. If you go knight to a3, I guess I take your knight and take on b5. At least I get rid. At least I get rid of your one dangerous you know, pawn there. So
yeah,
it's
I was going to go
over.
rook a7 then and go for your a pawn, but yeah, I didn't realize you take with check on b2 as well. So
Let's go back to Magnus, shall we? By the way,
let's go back to Magnus.
Okay, and we're just going to pick it up from the last position we had. And this was after white played this aggressive move e5. Now, one thing here, Fiona.
Wait, someone is asking in the chat, is this Magnus the world champion? So yes, this is world champion Magnus Carlsen with the black pieces.
And very quickly going through the moves. Now, if white ever has to take on d6, black has won the opening battle, because you've just swapped off one of your best pawns for a pretty irrelevant pawn, and now black has a better centre. So strategically speaking, I already like Magnus's position. He gains space on the queen side, and now, okay, he develops very sensibly. He moves his knight back to try to gain some important squares, and also his other knight has a nice square now. And if we go quickly through the moves, let's just have a look, and lovely square for the knight. And Magnus seems to be in quite good control of the position. And this pawn is very weak on d4. It's a bit like the other game we looked at, in actual fact. And now the current position...
If you had to make a prediction, what score do you think Magnus is going to get today?
I think Magnus will get 4 out of 4 today. I think he will win. I think he's going to win all of his games today. That's my prediction. I think Magnus, the world champion, is a class act. I think he realises for his team today, he needs to get a big score if they're going to have any chance of qualifying. And I think he's going to crush everyone today. So basically, that's my prediction.
We were talking of the game of Hauk against Gupta, and Tari just tweeted saying 16-year-old Johannes Hauk on Norway Gnomes about to upset Daly with a winning possession against GM Gupta. So we will keep an eye on that. I think Magnus will just bring this home. His famed technique.
Yeah, I mean, the reason that black is better here, we should just say, is again, it's a bit like the other game in the modern. You often get this in this opening. This pawn on d4 is a real weakness because it can't be defended by another white pawn. And often when you have a situation when you got this pawn, which is called an isolated pawn, the square in front of that pawn, so this square on d5 is a great square for black to control, because white can never fight for control of that square with a pawn because he doesn't have a pawn that can do that. So Magnus has problems, I say problems, he can put his opponent under problems by pressurising this pawn, pressurising on the b file. He's certainly a bit better here, Fiona, no doubt about that.
Absolutely, I agree. And I suggest we go back to Johannes Hauk against Abhijit Gupta, because things have simplified. There are few pieces left on the board, and I'm curious to hear your opinion.
Okay, sure. So we're diving back to that game now, and this looked like it could potentially be a massive upset. And we had, just to show you what happened, because maybe a move that white did wrong here was rook d1. I'm not sure I like this move. If I was white, I would have gone knight a3 to ensure my b pawn safe and to control the c4 square. But rook d1 allowed black to get some activity. And after a number of exchanges here, black gets rid of this dangerous pawn. But white has the 2 rooks, and after rook d7, this is the current position at the moment. So rook d7 here.
So I assume black will take on b2.
I'd imagine rook takes b2 will happen with check.
And then king f3.
Then black has a couple of pawns. I mean, he's not rushing to take that pawn.
Oh, so he went g5.
He went g5, yeah. And I don't know. I don't think this is so easy for white, actually, anymore, because the rook on a3 needs to get in the game, and it can't easily do that. Can you play b4 here?
I was just thinking about that, but I was thinking it's b4 because I want to force a draw.
Well, b4, I want to try to get my rook into the 7th rank. So I quite like the idea of b4, maybe even just sacrifice a pawn. Because...
Yeah, but I was thinking after b4, if I take twice as black, and then you go rook a7.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
that's the point, yeah.
I mean, you're only threatening to give a perpetual if I just run my b-pawn down the board.
Well, it's probably only... Well, I don't know. I mean, it's probably only a draw, but as white, you'd have a draw in hand there. I mean, The problem is, if you start going passive here with white, black is gaining a bit of space over here. And, you know...
And funnily, there has been a tweet from the official Norway Gnomes account retweeting Tari's tweet and saying, "Hush, no jinxing, please. No jinxing, please." And I think it might be too late for that already. The jinx might have happened already, because for me, this looks like things have gone slightly wrong already for the player with the white pieces.
Yeah, I mean, okay, well, this is his plan all along, is to do the c4. So he's going to try to go for the same plan. If he gets the rook to a7, I think he's going to have a draw in hand. But time-wise, Fiona, he's getting a little bit short. So, okay, so Black now, okay, it's played this rook b6. I mean, if this rook gets in the game, Fiona, he can't lose. He can't lose.
And just let me interrupt you for 1 second again, because I see John Ludwig Hammer has just joined us in the chat on Chess.com. And he's saying, Johannes, so this is the game we're just looking at, Johannes Haug with the white pieces. He's saying Johannes is fighting for a draw, would like to see those rooks doubled on the 7th. And then he also said g5 was really strange from Gupta, c4, and rook a3 takes a5 and gone to a7.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the draw.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why white isn't better now, though, personally. I mean, like, okay, because now the white rook is coming into the game. And if you can activate both your rooks on the 7th rank, this is what you do. Why is I don't understand why white is not... You know, white's got the extra rook at the end of the day. And with that rook coming to a7, he's going to guarantee himself at least a draw. But his time situation, he has under 3 minutes. And Gupta is moving very quickly. But what does Gupta do here?
I mean, his situation is still a lot less crucial than Magnus' young opponent, who I see from the corner of my eye is down to 19 seconds against 11 minutes. So we will go back to that later, but that's going to be a very tough task.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, we can have maybe a quick look at Magnus. I mean, I think it'd be nice to stay on this game because I assume Magnus was going to win pretty smoothly. So rook b3, this is getting quite critical now because with rook a7 surely coming. I mean, you can also take on c5, but rook a7 makes a lot of sense.
A7 has been played.
And now the point is I don't think black has a draw by keep checking because the white king can come over towards that rook. If you try to keep checking the king, my king will come towards the rook to stop it checking. And on the other hand, white should have a draw in hand by just, at the worst case scenario, but maybe more than a draw in hand here. I'd certainly be playing for a win if I was white here, Fiona.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Greg Shahadi said, let's check out Magnus. So let's quickly go there because I think this will go on for a little longer. Magnus' opponent, meanwhile, is down to 19 seconds. So let's see what's going on there.
Okay, so now we're looking at the world champion Magnus Carlsen, and he's making his second appearance in this Pro Chess League. And okay, after it's white to move, I think. Let's have a look. No, it's black to move, Magnus to move in this position. White only has 17 seconds left, and we're now entering into an ending here where black is going to be at least a pawn up, but white's so short a time. So I would think that Magnus, as long as he keeps his cool, will do the job here, Fiona. That would be my my prediction. And he's just gaining a little bit of time on the clock there by doing a couple of checks. I mean, by the way, this is not completely simple. I mean, there's a big threat here of checkmate, rook e8 checkmate. I mean, I'm not even sure if Magnus is winning this position.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not clear at all. They're also opposite colored bishops on the board.
I think it's very unclear. This D pawn could be very strong. I mean,
yeah, but white is down to just 10. I don't know what he's doing. Down to 7, 6, 5.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, but he has some big threats now. He was threatening rook e7.
Checkmate is the idea, and he's got to move quick though. So Magnus's king looks safe enough to me because his pawns do a great job of defending.
But he's very quick with only 7 seconds on the clock. He's just played rook f8. The point now is that black cannot take on b2 because of rook take. Oh no, but wait. I was going to say because of rook f6.
I think this is just winning.
Now it's winning.
Well, you can go rook f2 to defend in some position, but okay, this position, it looks like it should be very good with the 2 connected pass pawns, and the white king is weaker here. That's the main issue. The white king is under a lot of threats here. Time. Has he lost on time?
No, I see he has 11 seconds, but I think he's going to lose, but I'm still impressed by the defensive performance the white player has put on with so little time on the clock.
Yeah, he's okay.
Yeah, and Magnus is now mate on the board.
Gives a checkmate. So okay.
That's that. Let's go back to Abhijit Gupta against Johannes Haug.
And
Abhijit Gupta has just offered a draw and draw was agreed.
Okay, well, I mean,
we had a repetition there.
Well, I find it a bit surprising that a draw is a good result, but shouldn't a white played on here? Let's say I'm white. Okay, I think if we look at the last couple of moves, the game went with these checks, and here white agreed to a draw. But, this seems like a bad idea for me. The game was agreed a draw here, but isn't white risking nothing by playing something like king d1? Isn't he just risking nothing at all? Because he's always going to have a draw. Why not play on a little bit?
I'm going to interrupt you because I think we should move on to a game that is still underway, and that is Nihal Sarin with the white pieces against Arian Tari. And we had a tweet from the Norway Gnomes to say things are heating up in the match of 2 prodigies, Grandmaster Tari taking on the world champion under 12. So Nihal Sarin, I had the pleasure of interviewing him actually at Norway Chess last year, and he's a lovely kid, but a tiny boy. He's only 11 years old, and he has a bright future ahead of him, and he's facing Tari Arian. So let's go there.
Well, I had the pleasure the other day of losing a number of games to Nihal Sarin, and you could check out those on my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel, and the thing is, even though you can see his rating here, the player of the white pieces is only 2,324. When I was playing him at 3-minute chess only yesterday on Chess.com, he was over 2,600 at Blitz, which is stronger than most grandmasters. Yeah. So I have to say he is a great addition to the team, because someone with such a low rating can really level the ratings down. But he is much stronger than his rating, and he's been tipped as a future world champion as well, Fiona, this guy. Is he only 11 or 12? 12 years old, I think.
He was 12, possibly 11 or 12. He was the under 12 world champion last year, or the year before that. Yeah. But anyway, very young, very talented, and very promising. So what's happening in this position?
Well, d takes c5 has been played, and if we just look at the amount of points on the board, I think it's easy to see that black is 1 pawn up, but white seems to have very good control of some key squares. These 2 pieces in the center, the queen and the rook, controlling the center very nicely. Black's knights, I'm just thinking about black's pieces, not very good there. It can't move. On the plus side for black has managed to get his pawn to f4, and that means there's some tactical problems with the white king. So it seems like a very, very balanced position. They're both very short of time. I didn't realise, by the way, Fiona, that this kid was playing at the white pieces, and that boosts the Indian team's chances, in my eyes, by a great deal, because after losing to him like 4-1 yesterday, I realised that he's pretty good. This kid is good, so yeah. And I don't know, what should white do in this position? Okay, he's gone bishop takes e5, and that seems like a natural move. I like white's position. I think white is doing well here, Fiona, personally, because he's now nicked a pawn. He's threatening bishop takes g7 check, which will win the black queen. And look at his pieces in the centre. He has this great control of the centre of the board. I prefer white here, Fiona.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And again, this would be an upset if Nihal Sarin managed to take this one home. He's only the third. He is the third board player of the Daily Dynamite, facing against a number 2, second-ranked player from Norway Gnomes, Arian Tari, outrated by 200 rating points. So that would be a big, big result. And I'm just trying to find out what's happening in the last game. So I'll let you talk through the game and just try and bring up the last remaining game from that match.
And we can see in the score the Norway Gnomes have gone a point up, but I really do like White's position. I think that White could well be, he's certainly on the verge of winning this one, which would level the scores in the match. It's going to be a very close match. And let's remember that Norway Gnomes have Magnus Carlsen, the world champion, playing. But if they need to qualify, they need to win this match. There's no doubt about that. A lot of pressure on. Because now, okay, it's equal material, but again, look at the activity of the pieces. White has this great control here. And with the move G4, well, okay, isn't that allowing Queen takes pawn? Can't I go Queen takes pawn? Oh, Rook H1, Queen G3 check, King F1. Is that possible? Wow, I mean, this kid is so good, Fiona. He's such a strong player. He's allowing Black to take a pawn and maybe to come in here. But he's calculated incredibly well. The time situation, we should stick with this one, Fiona.
Yes, I mean, we will stick with this one. Yeah, the time situation, I was just going to say both players on roughly a minute and a half.
Yes, yeah, both on a minute.
So what did you say? Queen takes H4?
Well, if Queen takes H4, let's see if people at home can just follow this. I was thinking I'd go Rook H1. And that attacks the Queen, but okay, something different has happened. He's gone Queen here, and now White has a number of options. But if I was White, what would I be thinking? Well, this kid's better than me because he crushed me. So, let's just, I mean, can he even try Rook over to H5, threatening checkmate? I mean, that's, I like threatening checkmate, Fiona. Threatening checkmate is always quite a pastime of mine.
And by the way, if you look up over our head, the match is now tied, which means that on board 3, Grandmaster Sahaj Grover did take out Christian Holm. So this is the crucial game when it comes to the result of the first round in this match.
Yeah, indeed. And at the moment, it looks like, very critical game. White has control because he has the active rooks, White. He has the better placed queen, and he has this good control of the position. But the time situation as well, only 50 seconds for Tari at the moment. I reckon White's is a massive favourite here. I think I'm really looking forward to this kid playing Magnus Carlsen, Fiona. I can't wait for that match. Can't wait.
So when is that happening? Let me see. So they are playing in the next round.
Next round, wow. Oh, we've got to watch that one. We've got to. Yeah. Okay, well, Tari now has activated one of his rooks. He's got his rook here, so White trying to swap off Tari's one active piece, and now Black clearly on the defensive. But keep an eye on the clock, guys. Keep an eye on the clock. Also, the question
is, how does White make progress here?
Well, I mean, you could try something like pushing these pawns.
I was wondering that.
But what White seems to have done here, he's just going to try to round up the F4 pawn, because if he does that, he will go a pawn up. And that pawn looks like it's going to be very hard to defend, because you have, 3 pieces attacking that one. But I think this could, with the time situation, Fiona, anything could occur here. Rook E4 looks like a good move. Queen F8, mate, would be a threat then. That's a move I played kind of instantaneously here.
Just tricks.
Yeah. Look, he's done it. He's done it. He's a tricky little kid. People are saying I'm talking this kid up, but I know firsthand how good this kid is. That's why I'm talking him up. And again, White is in total control, Fiona. Total control. One pawn up. I think he could have gone Queen D. Oh no, he could have gone Queen takes C5 last move. A tactic there. I think he missed. Which showed out at the end. There was a beautiful back rank tactic that I think he missed. But staying with the game, now they're down to under 20 seconds. Up,
but as we know, queen endings are always tricky, especially when you have under 20 seconds on the clock.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Under 20 seconds on the clock, the time is going very quickly. And with the queen now threatening to come in, it really is a kind of lottery here. White must be better, though, because the extra pawn must be better here in this position. G5 being played, and now e4. Look at those pawns. They're going quickly, Fiona.
Yeah, I think he will do the job.
Queen takes f4. He missed queen takes f4 check. And then black would have been better. Oh dear, this is getting
wow,
very nerve-wracking chess here. My money's on white, Fiona. What about you? Who's your money on?
I'm with you on this.
Okay, 10 seconds for Arian Tari, another prodigy. This is a massive game. 5 seconds, he's in trouble.
Is, although White's king seems quite in the open, he's very safe because there's no check on b3. And black probably just doesn't have the time to bring his queen over to the first rank.
And he's run out of checks now. Black has run out of checks, and here this must be winning.
Yeah, this is game over.
Very simple ending here. The king comes and takes the c-pawn, and Tari.
I think Tari will resign here, and that is a massive win for Nihal Sarin, giving the Daily Dynamite the lead in the match.
Yeah, and just some interesting moments there, Fiona. I just want to go back because they both played a little bit inaccurately here. If we look at the position here, Fiona, after Queen d5, Queen, what did Black play? Black played Queen b6, but Black could have just gone Queen takes f4 check, and that probably would have guaranteed the Norway Gnomes a draw in the first round. They're then going a little bit even further back. I mean, I was just thinking in this position after Queen c6. Wasn't there a nice tactic here? I love my tricks, Fiona. White played. I love my tricks. Couldn't White have played Queen takes c5 here? Was that not a trick that White could have tried, Fiona?
Well, I can't see the board as you speak, but okay. I'll trust your judgment for it. You're the trickster here.
I'm the trickster, but you should never trust my judgment.
Okay, I see the position now. So Queen takes c5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like a good back rank kind of threat there, but okay, White won in the end. Very tense game there, and that means that they've taken the lead in the first round, Fiona, the Daily Dynamite. So big. And now
might be a good time to remind you that we are giving away a 1 month. Diamond membership for one member in the chat on Chess.com/TV. So one of you will be getting a 1 month membership at the end of the show, which I will pick, not at random, but I will try to give it to one of you, one of the most active or one of the nicest or the most interesting comments. So keep it up in the chat, and yeah. There you go. And I was sorry, I lost my track there. But the reason why I wasn't with you on the trick earlier is that I was on Twitter. And if you want to know, we have been talking about 11 or 12-year-old Nihal Sarin, who won a very important match against Arian Tari. Head to Twitter and check out #ProChess, and there you will find a tweet of Tari Swenson, who tweeted a photo of Nihal Sarin with Arian taken at the Norway Chess Tournament last year. So you will see just how small and how young this kid is.
Well, it's a big result for him there. I mean, like winning, he's a great addition to the team. And I'm so looking forward to the next game, Fiona, because this little Indian wonder kid is playing against the world champion in the next game. That's going to be great. Who's your money on? Do you think there might be an upset there? Any chance?
Well, let's see. I was going to say, wait for the colors, but I think regardless of the colors, I mean, as usual, I will hope for an upset, but I think Magnus will take this one.
I think you'd take him. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Magnus, not just the best player in the world, but he's a very good player in the quicker time limits. He's just a brilliant player. You don't get world champion for nothing, do you?
Exactly.
So you have to prove your world championness as you go along. And we're waiting for that game to just take place, and this might be a good moment to bring up the score groups as well, just so people can see who's got a chance of qualifying. So if we go to the score groups now and the cross tables, and I'll just bring this up as we speak, we can see that 6 teams go through, and that means that there's a lot of pressure on the Norway Gnomes and Magnus, who they've lost their first round as well. They really need to win today to qualify. and that means three rounds to go in this league. And I think most of us want to see Magnus Carlsen in the next round, don't we, Fiona?
Yes, I agree. And there's even more pressure on them now that they've lost round one of their match against Delhi Dynamite. Delhi Dynamite, who I have to say before the tournament started weren't one of my favorites. Even when they won the first couple of rounds, I thought, okay, they haven't really played anyone good. But now 5 rounds in, and they have won 4 of their matches and only drawn 1. They have taken a head start against Norway. So very, very impressive performance by the Dynamite.
That's right. And I mean, just looking at the pairings there, let's go over to see who's playing who. And, well, let's have a look at the individual pairings. And this is, the Delhi Dynamites who are really controlling this league at the moment. This is a game where they're probably favourites because they're track record, but Norway need to do something special today. So we'll keep an eye and see if any games have started. Have we got Magnus on the case yet, Fiona? Has he started his game yet?
I don't think so, but they must be about to. I did open another game. I opened Igor Kovalenko, but I think everyone really is just waiting for Magnus, especially he's playing Nihal Sarin. Let me see. How can I find out how old he is?
I'm going to refresh the page because this is certainly a matchup I've been very excited about as well. And both these players. Well, you got the world champion against maybe a future world champion. I can't believe how young this Indian kid is.
I thought, how can I find out how old he is? Turns out he has a Wikipedia page already, so you can all check him out. He's 12 years old. He turned 12 in the summer.
Yeah, and the scores there. So other results, as we can see, the scores coming in live as we're going along. We have the Mumbai Movers are doing quite well. The Budapest Gambits having a good result, and the last match is yet to start. But we are concentrating, of course, on the Norway Gnomes against the top seeds, the Delhi Dynamites, because that is the match I think everyone really wants to see, isn't it?
Let's not, how do you say, count the chicken before they hatched or something. I'm not English, so don't mind me. But Norway really need to get their act together, because if they lose today, I think this is it for them. I think even a draw might not be enough. So they will need a big comeback.
The game has started, by the way. The game has started. And this is the game I've been most excited about for the whole day. And it's going to be over in half an hour. So let's have a look at what's going on. And Magnus has the advantage of the white pieces, Fiona. And he's playing the world champion, this wonder kid, who beated Tari in the first round. So he's already on 1 out of 1. And potentially an upset here, who knows? But we have started the game with a Karakan opening, and this is normally leads to quite interesting positions. The Karakan, is it an opening you've ever dabbled with, Fiona?
I have, yes. I've dabbled with most openings, most of them not with a lot of success. But I think the Karakan is often not underestimated, but people often think it's a boring opening, so to say, while there's actually a lot more dynamics in it than you might think.
Yeah, there certainly are, and we can see here Magnus playing quite a strange setup. I mean, this is not a setup I'm accustomed to with the white pieces, putting the bishop on e3 and the knight on d2, and okay, he's put his pawn on f4 as well. So I'm wondering if Magnus is going to get ready to try and play some g4 and f5 even later on. Black, on the other hand, if you think about what Black's strategy is in the Karakan, it's a bit like a French defence, but your bishop, and you see the bishop's just moved here, in a French defence, that bishop is often back on this square, where it's trapped in. It's trapped in the French defence behind the pawns. So when you play the Karakan, you basically are trying to say, well, I want a French defence position, but with a better bishop, because my bishop is free, liberation. So that's what Black is going for. But Black has to find some active pawn moves, and the active pawn moves that Black normally plays to break up White's very strong centre are the 2 moves c5 and f6. And normally you can't do without these 2 moves. But first of all, there's a problem with the bishop on f8 and the knight on e7. You know, you've got to unravel your pieces at the same time. So I think still early days, Fiona, at the moment.
Yeah, and Simon, while you were talking us through the opening, I opened the 4 games of this match, and one which has caught my attention is Abhijit Gupta, who has the white pieces against FM Hamkam 98, and Abhijit has already castled queenside into a semi-open c-file, so maybe let's head there and see what's going on.
Okay, I don't want to miss too much of Magnus, but we can go there if I can find the game, because they're moving very quick in the Magnus game as well. So I think, okay, I'm just trying to find, okay, Gupta, if we can.
So Gupta with the white pieces against Hamkam.
Okay, so we can have a quick look there and at the position, the current position at the moment. And Hamkan, I don't know who Hamkan is. So this is another big game here. Gupta only drew his first round.
Yeah, Hamkan is I am Christian Stuvikon from Norway, another young player.
And okay, well, it looks like a fairly evenish kind of position to me. They're probably going to castle on opposite sides, but there's not so much attacking going on. I mean, Black, I prefer White's position, because if Black now castles kingside, White can really start ramming these pawns very quickly up the board. G4 gains the tempo, then Harry comes, H4, H5. On the other hand, it doesn't seem so easy to push the pawns, you know, typically when you're attacking your opponent's king, when your opponent's king is castled onto an area of the board where you don't expect it necessary to castle, you want to throw your pawns up to open up the king. But it's quite hard for Black to do that, because if you ever go b5, I can probably just take that pawn off the board. So early days in this game, I'd say, Fiona. Maybe we'll come back to this one a bit later on, but let's keep with the Magnus Carlsen game.
So let's go back to Magnus.
And Magnus has just castled in this position. It's Black to play now, and okay, bishop e7 played. Is Magnus going to go g4, do you think? Will he play g4, Fiona?
I can see him playing g4. So g4 forcing knight h4?
Yeah, I think so.
He's done knight f3.
I think Magnus's style, he seems to be more of a, you know, I would say, a slow sort of... He doesn't like playing committal moves like g4 and f5 unless they're really good. He'd rather wait until a better opportunity.
What if I now went queen e1, threatening g4?
Ah, nice idea. Queen e1, controlling the square on h4 with the threat of g4. He's got... Okay, that was an interesting idea.
Immediately.
And now we have to go here. Is there a g5 coming up? I don't know. Bishop d3.
I was wondering that as well, but I think not.
Okay. He's going for a simple... I mean, one of the real strengths of world champion Magnus Carlsen is he knows what pieces to exchange off. He's so good at exchanging the correct pieces. And with bishop d3, I can see that there's 2 pushes later on that White will have, f5 and g5. They both look dangerous to me. f5 starting an attack and g5 trying to win the bishop. I like Magnus's position here, Fiona.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So bishop d3, and the thing is, if you castle here as Black at any point,
it's going to end badly.
Yeah, I think so.
Very probably.
Yeah.
But the question is, if you don't castle, then what do you do?
I don't know. I'm really not sure what Black should play in this position. He hasn't got enough. He hasn't got any real counterplay here, Black. I mean, he hasn't got c5 or f6. These 2 pawn breaks in. And because he hasn't played either of those 2 pawn breaks, I think it's going to be, as you say, Fiona, very hard for him to get any active play in the position. So I certainly am now saying Magnus will take victory in this game. I think he's got the upper hand. He's got a nice position, safe position to play.
Yeah, I mean, Nihal Sarin has been thinking for a while in this position, and I understand why. Because the more I look at it, the more I think, if I were Black, what would I actually play? And it's not easy to come up with a move, let alone a plan.
Yeah, it seems a very uncomfortable position, and I think really that you know, it seems that Black is getting a bit squashed and crushed here. You know, slowly, he's running out of space in the position. He hasn't fought against Magnus's big centre, and when you're playing the Caro-Kann and the French defence. If you allow your opponent to get a pawn to e5, you really need to play actively and attack that pawn. Try to break out. If you don't, you're in danger of getting squashed. And that's what's happening here, I think, Fiona.
Yeah, I agree. And okay, he has just taken on d3.
Yeah.
But then I'm curious to see what his follow-up is going to be. Okay, so his follow-up is c5, opening things on the queen side. Threatening c4 now, so Magnus will have to do something.
I think c5 had to be played. I mean, black's got to try. Oh, wow. That allows c4. That allows c4. Is he really allowed c4? Doesn't c4 fork the queen, fork the knight? What's he
I don't understand. I don't understand.
Has Magnus dropped a piece? I don't think so,
but
Fiona.
Yes, if he takes on b3, then Magnus takes on e6, and then what?
Well, he's going for the kill. Magnus has suddenly played a brilliant idea. That's a fantastic idea, Fiona, because...
That is, yeah.
He's saying, look, you're a 12-year-old. I'm going to crush you like a 12-year-old,
Because I don't think he can take on b3.
I don't think so, because a pawn takes at e6.
Yeah.
And if the queen is allowed into g6, it will just be terminal. It'd be a terminal position for black. And that's a lovely idea from Magnus. Lovely idea. And he's just simply trying to get his queen into the position. He's got his f-pawn going down for the kill there, Fiona. So lovely tactical play.
Yeah, and once again, what does black do now then?
If I was black and I was 12 years old, I would probably, and I was playing the world. I would, Mummy, I need you now. Yeah. Things have gone wrong. The world champion's beating me. Oh, where's my bottle of milk? Give me my bottle of milk. I think there would be. Yeah, I'd certainly. I'd be a bit concerned here, and I think this position is okay. He has to try to get his king safe, so he has to try.
Mm-hmm.
And the f-pawn just looks so scary, doesn't it? Having a pawn here. It's still not all over, though. Black's still holding something together in the position. And, if that bishop gets into e3, it can at least exchange itself off. In some positions... Yeah.
If this was me, I would take the bishop, I think. Can I go... Okay, he hasn't, of course. Can he next... Does he want to go h4 next?
I think h4 is certainly trying to embarrass the bishop. Is an idea. The bishop can
the more I look at it, of course, I wouldn't have taken the bishop because the bishop is a stupid piece which is running out of squares very quickly.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why Magnus's idea was very clever, Fiona, because he really tempted.
Nihal into playing c4.
Yeah, and this is a move you don't want to play as black because you lose a lot of your potential counterplay, because what black would like to do is have a pawn on c5, because if he had a pawn on c5 he could always try to take on d4, and then if white...
By the way, David Pruss, who joined me a couple of weeks back when you were in Gibraltar, is in the chat, and he's saying that Nihal now wishes he'd left his pawn on c5. Whoops.
Yeah, that's the problem, because you need to have this opportunity to take on d4 and then to try to bring your rook into the game, rook to c2. As soon as you don't have this pressure against white's centre, you can see this massive pawn chain of 4 pawns is just like, it's just too strong, I'd say. Really, really strong. Come on, Harry. Is he going to push it?
It must be Harry time.
Come on, Harry. Surely. Come on, Magnus. He won't do it, though. Magnus doesn't like pushing.
No, he will. I bet you he will.
I bet you a bottle of wine next time we meet, Fiona.
Okay.
You said it. I heard you.
Damn you, Magnus.
Witnesses.
Damn you.
We have witnesses.
We have to meet in Hamburg, where I get you €1 wine from the supermarket.
None of your cheap wine. I'm going to go for a nice bottle of, I don't know, a nice bottle of £20 wine, I think, next time I see you. So you've lost a bottle of wine.
To be fair, I think the £1 wine from the supermarket in Germany is better than the £20 wine in England. You
know what? I kind of agree. So it is, yeah. Well, I mean, some wine in England is very nice, but not a lot,
Not a lot of it.
Okay. Well, things have changed here. I mean, at least now Black is trying to do some, explode the centre with f6. But the way Magnus has played this game has been very crafty because he's just kept control. Rook e1, he's controlling both of his important pawns here. And he must be better here. Surely, Magnus must be a lot better here. Any chances for Black? What do you reckon?
I mean, Black isn't lost by any means, but it's just looking tricky. And I've just quickly clicked through the other games, and I think the Abhijit Gupta against Hamkam 98 is really heating up now.
As we predicted earlier, we have opposite castles. And,
okay, let's go over to that game then. So it looks like leaving Magnus. Magnus is probably in control here at the moment, and we're now going over to Gupta's game. So what do you think's happening here, Fiona?
Well, I don't know what's happening, but it's a crazy position.
It certainly is a crazy position.
That's why I asked you to go there, so you could explain what's going on.
You always give me the easy jobs in life. Can I pick the bottle of wine, Fiona? I got some nice ideas in mind. By the way, I've got very expensive taste. Not.
Oh, I know.
Weatherspoons, boy.
I know you do.
So, okay, well, it's just a very messy position. You have both sides castled on opposite sides, again, leading to very dynamic and double-edged games.
To be fair, at first, I just take white because I would feel my king is safer. The bishops are controlling a lot of squares, and I'm going to have a lovely open G file in a second.
I kind of agree. Well, he's actually, instead of going for the open G line, he's going for the open Harry.
For the open H, yeah.
Open Harry. He wants Harry. Here comes Harry. Here comes the Harry line. He wants to land a blow on H8. He's going for it, but this does.
And there was another tweet. I guess this is John Ludwig Hammer tweeting from the Norway Gnomes account. He is the team manager. He's not playing today. They're very active on Twitter, and he's saying in other news, both Gupta and Stuvik Holm are attacking. Who will strike first?
I mean, this is the kind of thing I think it's a good strategy when you're playing the higher rated player to complicate things, because like you can see, I mean, in one way you've got to try to beat Magnus. You can't allow Magnus to grind away in a slightly better position as he was doing, because he's just so good. You've got to go for messy, murky positions. Try to roll the dice. It gives you some better chances. So, but I have to say, sometimes when you roll the dice, it can end up horribly wrong. And this is the kind of position where, oh, look at the H-file. The H-file is coming, where it looks like it's going horribly wrong for Black. Especially with Rook H. This is a simple move. Let's just put the Rook on H8. Bang. Checkmate. End of game. So this is not looking good. It's not looking good.
Yeah, I could see this one ending fairly shortly.
Okay, so Black's got the first threat in.
Black now has a threat at least.
Yeah, and he's got some kind of attack, and he's got to keep this initiative up with Queen takes B2 checkmate as an idea, because as soon as he drops one move, White is going to get a devastating attack. I think maybe it's not so clear, Fiona. Actually, not so clear. Queen C3.
Okay, now the queens will come off.
Okay.
I think it's not as straightforward as we. I think both of us always get very excited when we see an attack, and somewhat lose our subjectivity.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, we love watching a good attack, don't we, Fiona? When we're watching these games, the first side to get the attack, we get so excited. And Black now wondering if there's a way to avoid the exchange of queens, because. But even, I mean, how do you avoid mate? Let's say you swap the queens off. You have to move your rook. Rook H1 comes. Is there any way in that position you could stop checkmate? I don't see how you can stop checkmate. So it could just be a completely winning position, this.
Yeah.
If you go F6, I go G6, and I keep your king trapped in on the king side. So,
yeah, no, you have a point. Yep.
So I don't know what Black's going to play here. And Black getting very short a time as well. Knight D4, Rook H1 doesn't help. It could just be. It could be game over now, Fiona. I guess here could be, unless there's some very strong move that we're missing.
Greg is saying maybe Rook FB8 And yeah, both Greg and David agreed that Black can't take on c3 because he's just getting mated. And Malcolm Payne has also joined us in the chat, saying indeed Rook FB8 looks box.
Hello, Malcolm. Good to see Malcolm Payne, who does great things for the London Chess Classic. And if you do fancy a great tournament, and you should put that in your diary in December, and does great things for chess in general. So hello, Malcolm. But yeah, okay, Rook FB8, and we're trying to do a Forrest Gump then, aren't we, Fiona?
Absolutely, that's what they are saying in the chat. Malcolm was just saying time to do a runner. So yeah, and Rook FB8 has been played, so kudos to Hamcam. So the point is, after Rook H1, that you just run King F8.
Run, Forrest, run. Go, Forrest. You can do it. Run for the hills. You can make it around America. Here he goes.
Black is almost 10 minutes down on the clock, though, so this is going to be tough.
But is it that bad? Because
at least he's not getting mated, which is something.
That's always a positive. So yeah, I mean, could he even be better? I don't know. Could it? Is it possible he could be better here? I mean, because if his king gets here, I mean, if the queens come off now, I kind of like Black's position because he's got this nice pass pawn. He's got his knights coming in. Oh wow, what is White doing? Okay, what a move. So queen takes queen, pawn takes. I mean, what's happening there? Your rook has to move? What is going on with that move?
I'm not sure what's going on.
This is just a complete mess, isn't it? A complete mess.
And this is a very exciting round. All games are still going on, but in all the games, there is almost a 10-minute gap in time on the clock.
Yeah.
Like in every game, there's one player with 10 minutes plus and one down to 2. So very strange round, this one.
We just heard that Magnus is potentially winning his position as well. I mean, if we look at the score group at the moment, no results from round 2 have come through for this match, and this is going to be such a close match going on between these two teams.
And let's just remind the people who tuned in late that this is a must-win match for Norway Gnomes. So the defeat in the first round was bad news because they need to win the 2 remaining matches to have a chance to qualify for the playoffs. So both this week and next week.
Yeah, certainly. And Bishop C4 now being played. And I was wondering if Black should have played his rook to B2, because now there's an annoying little threat of White playing Bishop B3. This is kind of one of those crafty little threats you forget about.
And by the way, Malcolm has just pointed out in the chat that in the absence of Harry the H pawn, Eric the E pawn looks like a star.
You know what? I know people call him Eric, but he's really Eddie. He's really Eddie. Don't call him Eric, Malcolm. You clearly need to know your pawns more. You know why he's called Eddie? After one of the most legendary people in English sporting history, Eddie the Eagle Edwards. And I highly recommend everyone watches his latest film. It's very good. Who was a ski jumper from England. So, I don't know. Eddie's looking a bit scary, but he's got a long way to go, Fiona. I don't think Eddie's going to get moving too quickly here. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still not sure who's even better here. I mean, I'm not sure what's going on here at all.
I like White because it seems now that there's this nasty little threat of maybe Bishop B3. You've also got Bishop D5 to try and dislodge the knight first, and then you can put your bishop back to B3. Black's got a slight problem with his rooks, and well, look at the time as well, Fiona. That is certainly something that's going to cause major problems. Also, if you take
and I just think to keep everyone happy, we will come back to this game in a second, but let's quickly go back to Magnus, who might be mating. So let's just quickly go back to the world champion, and we'll come back to Hamcam against Abhijit in a second.
Okay, so we had this Magnus playing a great game here. Very quickly, we can maybe just catch up with what happened because we looked at the whole game. Magnus using his 2 central pawns here, controlling the position, and he just maneuvers his pieces nicely towards White's king. And at some point, when you're controlling the game, you have to make that break to get the tactics going. And with G5, he makes that break to get the attack going. He opens up lines towards the Black king, and now with Rook G2, he's starting to get some nasty ideas ready. And the knight comes in. Black tries a counter-attack there, But there are now ideas of queen h8 check. So very nice game from Magnus so far. All the white's pieces are taking a very good role in attacking. Knight to f6. And here, knight to e5 check. Some ideas on g7. The king does a forest. It's doing a forest again. But is it going to get away? Knight check. It's running. Forest is off. So rook takes f5. Is he surviving? Is the young?
I think he's not getting mated, but he will be losing material. I think too much material.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, black is.
And by the way, we had one result coming in this match, and Arian has won his game against Aradia 2000. Okay. So an important victory for Norway Gnomes there.
Mm. And that, of course, brings the score in this match up to 2.5 all. We're only in round 2 of 4. And we've also been told, Fiona, that maybe if Norway Gnomes draw their match today, they might qualify, but then they have to win their last match. So they're playing the...
But it's also probably out of their hands.
Yeah.
I would ask.
Which is a problem.
So.
And, okay, well, this position seems to be getting a bit murky to me. I mean, you know, with the... It's not so clear to me anymore. The queen coming to e6, and you know, it's not as clear. Okay, Magnus is 1 pawn up, and I think the time is the real problem here. That black's encountering. But is black even worse now because that white king is very exposed as well? I don't know. Is this a comeback from the young kid?
I mean, what is for sure is that he has done an amazing job of even surviving this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he really has enough. And actually, we have Akshat Chandra, not a very talented player in the chat, saying, I like black's to play Chandra. So there you go. Maybe there are some chances for black here.
I think black's fought very, very well to get back into this game because just looking at the king's safety, the black king now has protection over there on the queen side. On the other hand, black is threatening in some ways to come in. Queen e6. In some cases, if the rook comes to g6, queen takes b2. And the white king doesn't have that protection. If you can move the knight will jump in. And in actual fact, this game is turning, but he only has 35 seconds left, Fiona. So
yep.
This is the major problem black has. But he's making a great comeback at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very impressed by this young player. I told you before, I was lucky enough to interview him in Norway last year, and when I interviewed him, we had a quick look at the games that were going on. He was only 11 at the time, and a fantastic player, a very nice boy, and a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he's so young and so incredibly strong. I mean, and he's even to keep fighting in this game against the world champion. Well, the world champion is probably showing why he's world champion now. With knight to c8 coming, trapping the knight here. That's a lovely move, which of course I missed. So black going for a desperate counter-attack now. Knight c8 might be a mistake now because at the end of the complications, black queen could maybe come into f6 with some kind of attack.
Yeah, I don't think we will see knight c8. And actually, maybe things again aren't so clear here.
To be honest, it still seems like complete mess to me. A complete mess because both kings are weak. The white king's certainly not safe. I mean, if you go, okay, Magnus trying now to get some security to his king, but the time is the real issue. Queen e6, surely queen e6. Oh, he missed queen e6. But of course, it's the time situation. If you can go queen e6, you have rook f7 ideas, but 16 seconds left. And... well, at least I won a bottle of wine out this game. Woohoo! So, good stuff.
And by the way, in other news, Abhijit has won his game against Hamkam.
Right. So that now means the Delhi Dynamite have taken a point lead in this match. So they really need Magnus to win this one. Magnus must win this game, I think. There's no doubt about it. He's doing... And Eddie, look at Eddie. Look at Eddie, go. Eddie, be good. Look at him go. Eddie's doing a great job, Fiona, here. He's doing a great job. What about maybe, if this queen gets in, if that queen can come to g6 and getting on the back rank, it's not so clear still. Not so clear, this one. White.
I have to say, once again, I'm so impressed about how Nihal has defended this with so little time on the clock.
Yeah. Okay. And well, he's
Akshat Chandra in the chat is saying it's ridiculous how badly he messed up, and I think he's talking about Magnus here.
I think so. I still Queen to G6. He's gone Queen G4. Same idea. The Queen is trying to sneak its way in. Does White have to take a draw? Because there's some major threats now.
Yeah.
Major threats. Can you put your king? Okay, he hasn't gone for it, but now, okay, he might be getting out of this one.
Here?
Well, he's got Rook E2. He's just about getting out of this one, I think. Rook E2, and Magnus just about has everything covered.
But even then, I mean...
Oh, he had to go Rook H1 there. He had to play Rook H1.
But even is this so clear?
Well, I think this should be good. King E3, and you can start pushing your D pawn and your queen.
Yeah, but
king.
I will just keep checking you.
Yeah, but my queen should be able to block some of those checks, and my king can always come round and take your C pawn. I mean, I don't know. I preferred. I think black should have kept a pair of rooks on. But
and by the way, Grandmaster Eric Hansen has also joined us in the chat, saying he's glad he doesn't have to play a 12-year-old today.
I know. I tell you what, when I played this 12-year-old yesterday, it was painful, very painful. It was too painful. But it was still game on, Fiona. You're right. It's still game on. Magnus has lost Harry, but black now putting up good resistance here. I mean, it's just the D pawn. When you've got a queen ending, if you have that pass pawn, it should give you, even if you're a pawn down or so, he's gone for the ending. So he's just calculating now this ending should be good. The king coming in. I don't think that D pawn's going to be able to be stopped now. So this is a very good fight from black, but I think it's game over now. King E5, and the king comes in. You have to go King D8, but now your king comes across and the king starts mopping up the pawns. So
it's a real shame because Nihal Sarin really put on a great fight. It wasn't quite enough today, but
hang on. Has Magnus lost? Has he? No, he hasn't. Nearly. Close.
And there we see resignation. Yeah. So let's quickly head over to the last remaining game in this match, and that is Sahaj Grover with the white pieces against Johannes Haug.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly before we go there, I just wanted to point out one very quick moment here. On move 52, the only thing I was thinking, when black played rook takes rook, I wasn't sure why he couldn't play rook to h1 here, because now he sets up a checkmate threat, and to me this might have been a way to draw. But okay, let's, as you say, go to the last match of this one and see what's happening. So the two players, sorry Fiona, which were the two players?
That's Sahaj Grover with the white pieces against Johannes Haug.
Okay, and this is going to decide who takes the lead in this match. Whoa, what's happening here?
White one.
White one, okay.
So Deadly Dynamite still in the lead in this match.
Yeah, still in the lead by 1 point. And we had, just looking at the end of this game, it looked like Eddie decided the match, really. And with some safe play, we can see nice way to win there at the end, Fiona.
Yeah,
pawn to E8.
So 2 rounds in.
Yeah.
And Mike Klein is saying, okay, it's official. We're inviting Nihal Sarin to the Speed Chess Championship. I'm not sure if he's joking official or if he's official. But regardless of whether Nihal Sarin plays in the Speed Chess Championship this year or not, we will hear a lot more from him in the future.
Yeah, I actually I did miscalculate, just as I'm seeing in the chat now. With Rook H1, I kind of forgot that black no longer has an E-pawn, and Rook H1 does actually lose. I should have seen this one, because I forgot there's no pawn blocking the rook, and of course white just checkmates in 2 moves. So that's my first blunder in 2 moves of the day, I think, Fiona. There. Okay.
And Mike Klein, unfortunately, was just joking. There are, however, full qualification spots up for grabs, he's saying. So I'd be excited if he managed to get one of those. I'm just imagining watching him on webcam playing one of the world's greatest players. Sure, that would be a lot of fun.
It was quite funny, Fiona. I remember the prodigy Luke McShane, who was one of the strongest English players, like, of the last 10 or 20 years. And I remember when Luke used to play, he was really strong, but he was only about, I don't know, 8 years old. And he used to turn up at these adult tournaments. And sometimes, because he's quite a small chap. I mean, I know you know Luke very well as well. And Luke used to turn up, and they used to have to give him multiple pillows because one time I was looking over at it, I was like, why is there one person the whole tournament playing himself? Why hasn't he got an opponent? And I was waiting for his opponent to turn up, and then I saw this hand come over the top, and in this, you could see the table was here, and Luke's head would go, ooh. And then it would be like, and then he'd be like, he had to stand up to make his moves, and then so they had to give him like multiple pillows just so he could see the board. So I think the same for this young Indian. If he actually plays, he's going to have to do the pillow job, I think, as well at the same time. Otherwise, he won't be able to see the board. So yeah, get the pillows ready.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So we're 2 rounds in of this week 6 matches. Norway Gnomes are trailing by a point against division leaders, Daily Dynamite. They still have 2 rounds to fight back, but it's now getting more and more tough on them.
It is, yeah. I mean, so there's 2 rounds left, but they're a point behind, and they can't lose the match, can they? So it's certainly key now. I mean, other scores, the winning score, we should say, as soon as one side gets to 8.5, it is 8.5, I hope I got that right, that means they're guaranteed to win the match. That's the winning score. So you can see the scores at the moment. Budapest Gambits are only 2 points away from getting the winning score of 8.5. You get to 8.5, you've won the match, and that's it. Good stuff. So Delhi Dynamites, if they get 4-0, they win. So if they get 4-0 in the next one, I don't think they will, but I think it'll come down to the last match,
Probably unlikely. And by the way, someone was just mentioning in the chat that they think I'm reading the chat. I am reading chat indeed, and the main reason I'm doing so, well, not one of the reasons I'm doing so, is because we're giving away a 1-month Diamond membership to one of you people out there. So just keep your comments coming. It's always a tough one, how to decide who, but hopefully I'll find a fair and square winner.
I think Malcolm Payne deserves free Diamond membership. I vote for Malcolm, free Diamond membership in the chat. Have you got any favourites at the moment who you think have been commentating nice in Chess.com and are likely to win the Diamond membership?
Every now and then I make a note to myself, but it's always tough because people might have just an hour or so, and then let's say if they're active for the first hour and then they disappear. So I try to make notes. I won't name anyone yet.
Can I just clarify something, Fiona? When you say it's a diamond giveaway, are you giving away a diamond for the person who chats best? Does the best chatter win a diamond?
Diamonds are a girl's best friend, Simon.
Apparently
I'm not giving them away.
You're not giving a diamond away. What are you giving away? What are you actually giving away?
I'm giving you away a membership.
You're giving me away? You're not giving me away. Can we just clarify that? Sorry? No.
I mean, I've been away for a month. My English isn't what it used to be.
Yeah.
I'm giving away a 1-month Diamond membership, which gives you access to everything Chess.com has to offer. How's that sound?
I'd rather have a diamond, but it sounds okay. Yeah, it sounds all right. I'll take it if I had to. So, yeah. And this is while we wait for the 3rd round, because I think we're just going to stick to Magnus Carlsen's match. This is, clearly the one match we want to keep an eye on. But it's probably a good time now to have a look at the prizes, I guess, Fiona. Shall we go and have a look at what everyone's playing for?
I'll let you talk us to the prizes. I've just brought up, we now have our first GM clashes, actually, in this upcoming round between the Norway Gnomes and the Daily Dynamite, as Magnus Carlsen is facing Grandmaster Sahaj Grover and Grandmaster Arian Tari is facing Grandmaster Gupta.
Good stuff. So it's a very key round going on in the round 3 of this match out of 4. Now, talking about the prizes again, this is the first time that this idea of the Pro Chess League has been tried, and I think we've all got to get behind it and support it, trying to make chess an e-sport. A lot of people have been really pushing this, and the prizes are pretty good for the first time, but I think they're only going to get better and better year to year. You can see it's 20,000 for the first place team, and you have weekly prizes to play for, 10,000 for second place. So, and I think one of the things that's been really encouraging, I'm just going to bring up, by the way, the map of the teams playing, is how people are getting so into it. The teams as well. There's loads of social media going on, people supporting the teams. So if you are on Twitter, do follow some of these teams. Do follow #ProChessLeague because you'll get more information.
Speaking of Twitter, I was just giggling away here because I see our good friend Anton Squared Me has produced his first work of the day. That's a little video of our bottle of wine bet on whether Magnus or not would play H4. So you can head to Twitter and check that out. Or do follow Anton Squared Me because he's just brilliant and he will give you a lot of laughs.
Certainly. So looking at the map as we are at the moment, me and Fiona are just doing the Eastern Division. So all the teams in orange we're commentating on. And today commentary goes on throughout the day, throughout the night, depending where you are. After us is going to be the Europe division, so some of the London teams playing, especially interesting in that. And there's only two more. If we just go back to, let's have a look at the cross table now. There's only two more matches left in this stage. And after these two matches, so today included, we go to the knockout stages, and that's going to get very exciting, Fiona.
Yeah, that's going to be very, very... So only 24 teams in total go through. And then once... Because we will also have, I guess, blitz playoffs in case of ties at the time. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but it's going to be exciting as we progress through the competition.
Certainly. And do you have a team you think's like really excelled so far in our division? I mean, I think everyone can see from the tables that the team that has excelled is Delhi Dynamite playing against Magnus today. So they are really the one obvious one. I mean, who do you think is going to be the sort of real scary team for opponents to face, Fiona, out of this division?
It's a tough one because Daily Dynamite, although they've been so impressive, sometimes I wonder how have they done it. They don't have like a world champion or something, but they just seem to have a very, very compact team and playing well together. But I still like the Riga Magicians, I have to say, and also the Ljubljana Direwolves, which I have a little... how can I say that? I was going to say a crush, but I have a crush on the fact that they are like Ninja Turtles. I really like that.
So you've just let slip that you fancy the Ninja Turtles. Did you mean to let that one slip?
Yeah, no, probably not.
So Fiona officially has said she fancies the Ninja Turtles.
So let's go off there.
Are you trying to change the topic there? Somehow?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so if you're a Ninja Turtle, give Fiona a bell and you might be in luck. This is the way forwards in life. So if you think you can get your pizza dress up as a turtle, there you go.
Your pizza?
Sorry?
What?
They love pizzas, don't they? The Ninja Turtles
They
love pizzas.
do. We also love pizza. Someone pointed out earlier that they saw my photo on Twitter from our weekend.
Yeah.
We had some of the biggest pizzas ever.
We did. It was very good. And, well, again here, we can see that Magnus has played, just diving into the game. This is one, let's just have a look at, remind everyone scores. The Norway Gnomes at the halfway mark today are a point down. So they need to have a better second half. They need to at least draw the match in order to have a chance of going through. Magnus is on 2 out of 2, and he's now going to face 2 GMs. All GM clash here. And he's played the perk again, or well, basically this opening, which is very dynamic opening, Fiona.
Yes, and I think Magnus. I think now Norway really needs him to score 2 points out of his last 2 remaining games if they want to stand a chance in this match.
And that's why Grover is trying to play as boringly as he possibly can. He's going for the boar technique, which is literally, I'm going to swap off all the pieces. I'm playing Magnus Carlsen. If I get a draw, I'm going to party all night long because he's the world champion. Now, he's going to take on e5 and take the queens off, isn't he? I mean, is this a good way to play against Magnus, do you think? Should you try to bore Magnus?
I don't think you should, because it's very likely he's going to outbore you and outmaneuver you.
I agree. I mean, Magnus is a brilliant... he's a brilliant endgame player, and he will play on equal positions perfectly. I mean, if you look at his games, that's how he's won so many games, by just grinding down equal positions. So I don't know if this is a good technique, but it's a simple way to play. And if anything, I would probably kind of take white in this position, because the bishop on g7 is not a very good piece, and you can kind of compare that one to the bishop on e2. But of course, it should really be an equal position, shouldn't it? I guess.
Yeah, it should be. I think we're in for a long maneuvering game here. No nonsense attacks. So yeah, our predilected, is that a word? Predilected?
I've never heard of that word, but it may well be now. Predilected. What does that mean?
I was going to say our predilected field, so where we excel at. This greenless positional middle games.
Okay, that's you throw me there. But I guess this is, it is a very even game. But a draw would be a great result, wouldn't it, against Magnus? Even when you got the white pieces, it's not a bad idea, because obviously white is a grandmaster, and most grandmasters will not make horrible mistakes. So as long as you don't make an error, there's always a chance of getting some kind of draw. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't play like this against Magnus. I think it's a bit of a wet fish way to play. You know, you're kind of like, oh, I'm playing Magnus, I'm terrified. Where's my mummy? Terrified. Yeah. Where's my mummy? I want to swap the queens off. Oh, he's done an aggressive move there. You know what? Magnus is under a little bit of pressure, actually, Fiona, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we're trash talking poor Sahaj Grover here, but maybe he's not doing so badly at all.
I mean, I really like his last move, because he's going for some serious pressure against the knight on f6 now. And there's a big threat of pawn takes pawn and just winning a piece. Magnus is under this horrible pin. His knight is pinned to his rook. So maybe even after all his trash talking, it could be coming good, I mean, can Magnus go h6 here? This is a move I'd like to play, h6. Try and push the bishop away, because if I take on f4 now, rook takes f4 seems to be winning even for white. So maybe a move like, oh, hello, Charlie. Charlie, you can't join in. No, Charlie. Charlie likes watching Magnus the cat. Magnus the cat? Charlie likes watching Magnus play. He's a massive Magnus fan, is Charlie. Whenever Magnus is playing, he comes over and says, where's Magnus? Come on, Charlie, see you later. He's going now. He's had enough of it. He looked at the position and thought, nah, not very interesting. I'm off.
And Johnny D. Good is telling me predilect redirect. So that's the word I was looking for. Predilect. Thank you, Johnny D. Good.
Yeah.
If you weren't already a Diamond member, you'd be.
Yes, definitely. So, okay. Well, what's happening? I guess h6 you could flick in a pawn takes pawn. So Magnus going for rook d4. This looks a bit uncomfortable for him. Pawn takes pawn. He has to go somewhere like knight d7. But then, it kind of feels a bit suspicious, because I got bishop f6. Have I got bishop f6? No, then you take on e5. It's a little bit of pressure here. A little bit. This could be an upset. And, this is a massive game.
I was just going to say, if Sahaj Grover gets any result here, even a draw, a win would be huge, but even a draw would be a massive result for the Daily Dynamite.
Certainly. Well, let's have a look at this. I mean, pawn takes pawn. I don't know if I can make this on the board. Let's see. Okay, he hasn't gone for that. He's gone for a more calmer approach. He doesn't want to take any risks. I think the danger, if white had taken there was a knight d7 and knight takes e5, which structurally, if that knight moves to that square, would be good for black, because the e4 pawn was weak. But I kind of felt there might have been some little idea there, some little trick in the position. Rook d4 looked very suspicious for some reason. But okay, White's sticking with his plan of just playing good moves.
Here, White just still seems to be completely fine. He must just have a slight edge here, I would say.
I think White's doing well at the moment because now there is, I would imagine, a big threat of pawn takes pawn, because then the rook on d4 will be sort of hanging in a lot of lines. And we can see Magnus has taken more time than he has done in the past. So I think he's certainly more worried in this game than in previous games, Fiona.
And also David Pruss in the chat agrees with you that he also thinks rook d4 was bad.
Yeah. Now, what should Magnus do here? Because if he tries a horrible move here, being moved like c5, trying to support his rook, because you've got to be careful when you make pawn moves about what squares you give away. And if you move the c-pawn, you'll give away the d5 square. The knight would be able to come in there at some point. So Magnus has a little bit of some problems to solve here. He can now move the knight. I'm wondering, because his rook has moved out of the pin, could he consider moving the knight? But that's very passive. It's very passive.
Where do you go?
Where do we go? I don't know. I mean, if I try knight d7, just looks wrong because all your pieces are just cramped together. I like White's position, Fiona. I really do.
I really like White as well.
Yeah, there could be danger here.
I mean, it could potentially be a match deciding game here.
I mean, it totally could. If Magnus doesn't win this one, and that's why he's spending a lot of time thinking. He and the big threat is simply pawn takes pawn. It's not even such a complicated position here. I mean, I don't know what to do as black. I'm struggling to find a move. I mean, I don't know if we can actually play variations, unfortunately, at the moment, because we want to keep up with the moves that come through.
And also, Akshat Chandra in the chat is saying, like everyone, he's surprised by rook d4, and he's saying, why not rook e8?
Well, rook e8 would have made a lot more sense, just keeping the rook on a much more solid square. I'm assuming against rook to e8, White could have played f5 and have some kind of slight advantage, minimum, maybe something even better. But this rook d4, it looks very suspicious. And
I think it's clear that Magnus is unhappy here, because for the first time we see him being shorter on time already, more than 2 minutes. It's not a huge difference just now, but eventually it could tell. And I imagine Magnus is not a happy camper right now.
No, I mean, he realises he's under extra pressure, doesn't he, Fiona? Because he realises he's expected to score massively because of his rating. Okay, he's played bishop to e6. Bishop e6 has been played. And I think the idea now, this is a good move, will be to try, if White takes on e5, to swap rooks off, and then the knight can come and take this pawn. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if I go pawn takes pawn here, don't know if I can make the moves, but you will have, after pawn takes pawn, an exchange on d1, and the idea will be for this knight to get to e5, for the knight to move into e5. So this is a very sensible move, bishop to e6. Magnus playing risky chess then. Risky chess at the moment, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just wondering if I can go into analysis mode here somehow. Let me just try to work this out. Sorry, this is something just to look at some lines, but I think we're going to have a move quickly from White. I mean, again, f5 here can't be a terrible move if White plays f5. That can't be a disastrous move. This f5 move. It looks very natural to play that one. But
sorry.
Bless you. Was that sneeze or a cough? What was that?
Yeah, it was a sneeze, but it was coming up for a while, hence me being so quiet.
Yeah. God. That was a build-up sneeze.
Magnus is still thinking, and he's now down 4 minutes on the clock. So things are getting more critical, because when Magnus thinks for so long about a move, I think it indicates he's very unhappy and he's just struggling to find a move or a plan here.
Yeah, I mean, we've still... I mean, not bishop e6. If he gets a couple more moves in, Magnus, he'll be absolutely fine. Because you can see he's getting his pieces now coordinated. So this is the kind of position as White where you'd want to take a bit of time, because White has got all his pieces to good squares. And it's just, okay, he's gone f5. Magnus has had to take on f5. This looked like the natural way to play. And now we have this change of pawn structure, so it's certainly a more dynamic position. But you're asking a question to the bishop now. Where do you move the bishop to? And that bishop doesn't necessarily have a great square. Do you put it on d5? They look a bit clumsy, the black pieces. Otherwise, I don't trust bishop c4 because a rook takes rook. You might lose that one. And if you have to retreat the bishop, that's not cool either. So I still would rather be white here, Fiona, in this position, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Should we see what's going on in one of the other games? And I have to say there isn't one that hasn't particularly caught my... I'm worried about redirecting you somewhere and then just getting backlash from you.
Oh no, I'll go easy on you, Fiona. I'll go easy. You're the boss. You're the boss when it comes to picking games. I'm just here to chat rubbish. So.
I mean, we could check out the other all GM clash, although it isn't the most exciting, but it is still a GM clash. So let's quickly go to Abhijit Gupta against Arian Tari.
We'll certainly do that. I mean, just to let you know, Fiona, we've had quite a change in the Magnus game. Things have changed. Things have really.
Okay, then I need to refresh.
Things have changed. We'll definitely go over to that one.
Yeah, no, let's stay there then, because I didn't have any moves coming in, but I see them now. Okay.
Because now we can see there's been... Okay, Magnus did go bishop c4. I wasn't sure tactically about that move. And White's just playing very simply in this game. He exchanged off. He's put a rook on e1. So he has these great lines for the rooks at the moment. And he can always go for something like bishop takes knight and knight e4, when the knight on e4 would be a fantastic piece. Black's rooks are offside, so White is definitely better, Fiona. Definitely better. Definitely better in this position. It's not a big advantage, but it's still an advantage here. And Magnus
we have people in the chat. We have Pauli Kira saying that it's plus 0.62 according to Stockfish 8.
Oh, go away, Stockfish. Go away, Stock. What does Fiona Fish say? Come on, you've got to come up with a number now, Fiona Fish. 0.43.
0.56.
I mean,
and Akshat Chandra is having none of that nonsensical evaluation, and he is suggesting maybe e4 for black, but Magnus has gone knight d5.
Very risky move, because now White has an f6 move at some point, which will always keep black under wraps. I mean, let's say I go knight takes knight and f6. That'd be my natural way to play. I mean, knight d5, very risky move. I mean, I want to go, let's say, knight takes knight. If black recaptures, then I will play f6. And if I get my pawn to f6, I'm going to win one of your central pawns. And, I don't know, it looks risky. On the other hand, Magnus's idea of moving the knight here is to start coming down and using his one active piece. Now the rook maybe not looking so stupid to get some counterplay. I still think White's better, you know. So, you know.
I don't like the way this has gone for Magnus, and I think great job so far by Sahaj Grover.
Yeah. Okay, just with a couple
of
moves.
So he has taken on d5.
He has indeed.
And I think his next move here is quite important. Does he go f6? Okay, he has taken on d5.
He's keeping maybe f6 for later on. I mean, f6 is certainly a move.
Yeah, I mean, if for example, if black now takes on c2, then I go f6, and then I take on e5, and black won't be happy.
I don't know why he didn't go. I don't know why he didn't play f6 straight away, because another plan I have as White. I mean, I like your idea of just f6 and take on e5. But another plan I have is try to take advantage of your weak back rank. And that will certainly be weak if I get a pawn to f6. I mean, I can go rook on e d1. This is my plan. f6, rook e d1, rook d8, bishop h6 with some kind of mating net. I suppose...
But it's the same idea if I take on e5 now.
Yeah, same idea. f6, then you go rook on d takes. Right, yeah. So does Magnus have to play f6 himself here?
He goes h6.
Okay. Maybe that's what he was going to do against the move f6, but then I could have taken on e5. I think White played this slightly inaccurately. I think he should have gone f6.
You would have gone f6, yeah?
I would have gone f6, yeah, definitely. This is now not so bad. because the bishop is, if it has to move away, where does it move? I mean, you can go bishop e7 and try to go f6, but then black can at least exchange off his bishop. So maybe it's not so bad here. Not so bad. Should we go to the other game now? And I mean, if you want to.
So let's check out the other all GM clash between Abhijit Gupta and Arian Tari.
Yeah. Okay, so Magnus still seems to be in a bit of trouble in that other game, but now a very critical game. And this is one where if Tari could be a hero, he's playing Grandmaster Gupta, and it's an opportunity here.
Mm-hmm.
So the current position, White's just played pawn takes f5. It's equal on material at the moment. Rook's b3 play, queen f4. Both kings are looking a little bit weak.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I was just wondering who is weaker here.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking of I was looking at rook takes h3, and then I wanted to play f6 and f7 mate.
Oh, nasty. That's very cheeky. I like these little cheek, so takes here, and then f6. Oh, he's taken there. So are we going to see f6, f7 checkmate? Oh, I don't know.
I doubt it, although it would be nice.
It would be nice. It would be nice for Gupta. Not so nice for Tari, though, I guess. So, yeah.
I guess after f6. And he has come.
Oh.
But I guess now black just queen d7.
Guarding this square, yeah?
Can you somehow try and deflect the queen?
Well, you could. I like an idea here of rook a8 and rook d8.
I was just going to say that too, yeah.
But Tari's got there first. He's blocked this one with the king coming to f7. So,
I sort of like white, although I can't see an immediate follow-up.
I don't know. I kind of think, like, if, the problem here for white is the queen, because this queen is not very active. I mean, if I put the queen on the A file, I've got, like, ideas of rook a7, but...
And by the way, just interrupting you for a second, because we don't have the time right now to check out all the games, but the Norway Gnomes tweeted a minute ago saying, some good news for Gnomes fans. Stuvik, Holm and Haug are both better, so that would be good news indeed, but we'll stick with the GM clashes for now.
For now, certainly. So I think Tari's better here. I mean, Tari is up a pawn, so if he can keep his pawn advantage, that's great. And he seems to have just defended everything. The white queen can't get active, because if the white queen ever does try to do that, okay, he's gone f3. So, I don't know, I guess this might be to cover the square on here. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, maybe I even go rook h5, rook f5, just try to, annoy your queen like that. Rook h5 seems like a good move in a lot of positions. It's very messy, isn't it? It's just very
messy, yeah. Messy. I mean, I said I like white, but on the other hand, I can't find any squares through which I can penetrate your position, so I'm struggling to find a plan for white. And now we see black pushing his c-pawn.
It's always nice in these positions, isn't it, to have a very simple plan. And the idea of going c3, c2, queen is certainly the kind of plan which would just is nice to have. Tari's definitely better. Oh, what is that? What is that move? Oh, rook a7 as an idea. Wow. Bishop b8. What a move. What a move. Threatening rook a7.
It's nice that his queen from f4, of course, is covering c1.
Yes. But is there tactics here where I can play, for example, can I go c2, allowing rook a7, and then have some little bishop a3? No, because your queen comes to c7 in those positions. So this is a really nice move, though. It's not the kind of move that a lot of people will consider. Bishop to b8, just threatening rook a7. I mean, that is a real shot, isn't it? I mean, what
do you do? Can you run? What if you can't go king? I was gonna say king g8, but then I have bishop d6.
Yeah, king. Good point. King. If your king moves here, bishop d6 is a very powerful move in the position. And also,
I guess, you can't run to e6 either. So what do you do?
I don't know. I don't know what you do here. I mean, this is an incredible move. This has just turned around the whole evaluation that I had. So he's got, okay, wow, an equally crazy move. Bishop h6, diverting the queen away, but also just trying to get the c pawn rolling. That's obviously a good logical move to play. What is happening here? Can I go
queen e5?
Queen e5.
But I'm probably too.
C2.
You're mating me, yeah.
Someone's mating someone here, Fiona. I just don't know who.
Yeah. I really like this shot, bishop h6. Didn't see that coming.
Two peculiar bishop moves, and bishop h6 is an incredibly strong move, yeah. And it just supports the c pawn. If the queen moves, the c pawn is only 2 squares away from queening. Mm-hmm. So queen e5, c2. Is there a good move there? I can't see it.
I can't see it either.
Black's king is pretty well protected. This might be game over now. Might be game over. I can't see a way out of this one. Can't see a way out for Gupta.
Moves like this make me realize just what a patzer I am. Because there I am saying, I can't see a move for black. I can't see a move for black. And then black plays a move. And then I'm like, yeah, I can't see a move for white.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did play rook a7.
I was assuming here queen takes rook would win the game. But I'm just wondering if there's something I'm missing there. See, if I was black here, I want to go queen takes rook, because then I'm on your queen. Is there anything wrong with queen takes rook? Looks like it should be a winning move, shouldn't it? Queen take. He's played it. Queen takes rook, and I think this is going to just be a very.
Yeah, I think just a few last tricks coming up here after queen d6, but I don't think there should be anything.
I could probably even take on d4 check and take on f6 if I want to, try to come around and take both of these. But I think
giving another check, and I think it's clear it's the white king who's going to get mated here.
Yeah, the white king is certainly getting mated. Queen h1 or rook to h2 is going to lead to mate, no doubt about it. Okay, black has won this very important game. That's a great result for Tari and a great result for the Norway Gnomes, Fiona.
Absolutely. I will keep an eye on this to let you know when it's done. But meanwhile, let's go back to Magnus Carlsen.
Certainly. So, back to Magnus Carlsen.
And there we have it, resignation.
In the other
so a crucial victory there for Arian Tari with the black pieces.
And this game now means, it's again, incredibly important game here, where it looked like Magnus was certainly a bit worse. And I would say he's fighting hard here. I mean, the white pieces seem to be well coordinated, the white king active, and maybe white is playing with a draw in hand. I guess white would still be all right to draw this one. Magnus potentially offering both sides now. Will Magnus play for a win? Will he play for a win here? That would be, he's played for a win. Only Magnus would do something like this, but I think it's going to end up in a draw unless. Well, whenever I say that about Magnus, I always get it wrong. So,
yeah, but I can't really see. I mean, again, like you, I don't want to say I can't see anything happening, but I really can't.
I mean, I've commentated on so many Magnus games, and I always say, it's going to be an easy draw. And then Magnus, 5 hours later, goes on to grind his opponent down. I'm like, okay, I was wrong again. So, I don't know. And Magnus, his position has improved. And his defensive skills are just so unbelievable, aren't they? They're so unbelievable. He's such an amazing defender. Mm-hmm. And, okay, well...
So what's happening now?
Well, he's giving up his pawns over here, and he's taken a lot of risks now, Magnus, I guess.
He is taking.
Is he relying...
I wonder if he's taking too many.
Again, any result possible. Isn't there some nearly checkmate threats of bishop f8 here? I mean, if I can nearly mate you, if I go king f3, bishop f8, rook h7 is a checkmate net. I think Magnus is taking maybe too many, Fiona.
I think he's taking major risks, and I think he might get punished here.
Should he really have lost both his pawns over here? I don't know if he should, because I thought if he gets this pawn on g2, okay, great compensation, but I don't see any way he's gonna take this pawn, because king f3. Okay, so this is the only option. And he's got ideas now checking and taking on f5. But the most important pawn, if Magnus can take this pawn here, if he can take the pawn on g2, then I think it's anyone's game still.
Yeah,
Big risks.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so he's just played a5.
Yeah.
I was wondering if he could have gone rook f2, but
I think he's gonna certainly play rook f2 next. His plan is just to take the pawn and run this one.
And the players are now getting short on time, both under 3 minutes.
I could have got... Yeah. So, is he going to go b4 and just try to queen his a-pawn? It's going to be a race situation.
I think White, yeah, absolutely, has gone b4. I think White needs to do something active here. He can't just wait.
And now he
took it through.
Push the a-pawn. Don't even worry about taking that one back. Just get on with it. I think White's well ahead. White is well ahead on this race, because
he has done a5.
He's pushed it.
And someone, well, we don't usually like you stockfishers in the chat, but someone is saying it's +5. Then someone else is saying fake, so I won't pay any attention to it. But it's looking quite good for White, I have to say.
Certainly good for White. I mean, but you still got this. I mean, you've still got to get this pawn moving. The best place to put your rook when you're in a position like this is behind your opponent's passed pawn. Magnus has got his rook there, so it's very hard for White to push the a-pawn. And Magnus has a very simple idea of taking here and then queening the h-pawn. So White trying to maneuver that rook away from its good square. Magnus keeping his rook behind the passed pawn. And... well, again, Fiona, I mean, White really... I mean, why did White do that? He just lost a very important tempo.
I realize I'm being very quiet, but I'm just sitting here like, what's going on?
Yeah. Certainly. I mean, I have to say, I think now White is losing track of this game a little bit, because he's improving Black's position. Now, the plan here, of course, if White gets the king to b5, he can push this pawn. But Black has a very strong pawn.
Yeah,
as well.
But I mean, if Black will just give up his rook, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here, Simon.
Well, I think basically Magnus has taken control now, because he's got his rook behind his pawn.
Yeah, White has completely lost the thread here.
Well, there is a problem here. Rook a5, you go a8, queen. So... again, I don't know if they're both making mistakes. It's a very tricky ending.
If you just take?
Well, you're going to have to give your rook up for this pawn, aren't you? At some point. But on the other hand, Black's pawns are too strong. It's Magnus playing for the win now. Yeah. It's Magnus certainly playing for the win. He's played very risky. You've got to admire how many risks Magnus takes, because he just takes crazy risks.
If I take on h3 now, is this a draw or not?
I don't like it, because your king is so bad. If your king was in front of the pawn, it would be a draw. But if you take on h3, I can take here. And if you try to get your king to d4, I have a check. So I think that was good winning chances for Magnus. But
and actually, Chandra in the chat was saying that rook h3 loses, apparently.
Yeah. And now, again, it's just... okay, we're going to have this weird position. I think it should be a draw. It should be a draw. You queen this pawn, and then you start checking with your rook. And the king should get back in time. Very close game, this one. I think a draw is a fair result, to be honest. So let's have a look.
I mean, this has been from when we got there, and we thought... And by the way, just as I speak, Hamkam, a.k.a. Holm Stuvik, has won his game against Ahadia. So I think that is the Norway Gnomes taking the lead for the first time in this match, if I'm not mistaken.
Very, very important win, that one. I mean, they have, and if Magnus, I think this is, to me, it looks like it should be a draw, but I mean, again, I'm not Mr. Endgame, so I don't know this off the top of my head, but the White King is coming back very quickly here, and you just check from behind. This would be the simple way to try to do it. I don't see why Magnus should be winning at all in this position. In actual fact, you have to be a bit careful you don't lose this. But the time situation, they both have a minute left, so they've got to be very careful, both of them, not to throw this away. I expect it is a draw. I expect, and it's going to be very exciting last round, isn't it, Fiona?
And Norway Gnomes just tweeted saying Stuvikholm, who has by now won his game, is up a queen. We could see a sweep for the Norwegian team this round.
Okay. Well, he's decided to put his rook on this square, which is a much more passive square. I didn't want to put my rook here because I wanted to keep it able to check, but, I'm not sure.
What has he done here? Should still be a draw, yeah?
It's a draw, because as soon as you go king g2, king e2 happens, and it's a draw. Yeah. So it's ended in a draw in the end. You can't get more drawn than king versus king, can you? So that's a draw.
What an exciting game this was.
Very exciting.
And just as we speak, Nihal Sarin against Johannes has also finished in a draw. So a 3-1 victory for Norway in this round.
Wow.
Thus taking the lead in the match.
So exciting, and
yeah.
Well, basically now, just to let everyone know the situation in this match. Delhi Dynamite are top of the table. We'll very quickly just show you the league table before this round started. And there's only 2 more rounds. This is week 6, so it's getting to the next stage of the competition. And I'm just going to bring up the cross tables now. And you can see that Delhi Dynamite, who are now behind against the Norwegian Gnomes, are really controlling so far the table. But the Norwegian Gnomes, and we'll just leave it there for a second, they need to really at least draw this match, but they've gone 1 point up with 1 round to go. So 4 games to go, Fiona. Do you think they're going to win this match?
I think they are now favourites. Because, let me bring up the pairings for the last round. I think once again, Magnus' game will be crucial. It will be crucial that Magnus can beat Abhijit Gupta and score a perfect 4 out of... no. Well, he's just been held to a draw. So, but 3.5 would still be a big score. I think Magnus' game will be crucial. Arian, Tari as well, facing Salzgrover. But the Norwegians are now higher weighted on every single board in this last round. So I think they must be favourites now.
There must be favourites, and they got a point margin. And I think, if they draw, if we think about the possible scores they could get just looking at the table now, even if they lose, let's just get this right, 2.5, 1.5, they would draw the match. So they need to get at least 1.5 points out of the last 4 games to have a chance of qualifying. And if you've got Magnus on the team, Magnus is very likely to get one of those points. Yeah. So they're in a great position now to go through, and they've really fought back, haven't they, from not having some good earlier rounds, Fiona. Do you think it's so important to have Magnus in the team then? Do you think it really helps?
I think it really does help, because it guarantees you at least 3 or 3.5 points.
Yeah.
Most of the time. No offense to John Ludwig, who I know is watching.
Yes.
But yeah, I think Magnus, and I think it might also, motivate the youngsters on the team, because it's not very often you get a chance to play alongside Magnus, so they might be more eager to bring their A game.
Yeah, and we'll keep an eye on when the last round starts, because this is a match we're really concentrating in. Now, I need to take a very short break, Fiona, only for a minute. So should I? I'll let you talk about some of the other games, and I'll be back in a second. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
So I'll just quickly take you through what's been happening in the other matches as well. You can see it on your screens, but for those of you who happen not to be seeing us and just listening in, so you can see that the Budapest Gambit there have won their match already. There are still some games going on, but they have already stormed to a 10.5 score against 2.5. So that's a massive win there. Then we see a very close match between the Johannesburg Kirksister and the Amaravati Yodas. And in fact, I think I saw a tweet not so long ago from the Kirksisters. So let me just find that. They tweeted before the match started that this was the match to avoid last place in the group. And the Johannes sister, they tweeted 15 minutes ago saying 2-2 in the third round, going into the last round a point off the lead. So they seem to have taken to have equalized. So a very close match there. They're not fighting for playoff, but fighting to avoid last place is still a lot to fight for. And then the Mumbai Movers, just 1 point away from beating the Regal Magicians, who I was talking up earlier. The Regal Magicians with Igor Kovalenko leading the team today. So it looks like a tough day at the office for Regal Magicians. As I mentioned, Mumbai just need 1 more point to wrap up the match. And then the Norway Gnomes against Dynamite, the match we're following. I reckoned Norway are favorites now to win it. They outrate their opponents on every board with 1 round to go. And then finally, when that match is over, before we hand off to IM's Anna Rudolph and Lauren Strand, we will quickly see what's going on with the Ljubljana Direwolves, my favorite Ninja Turtles, against the Belgrade Sparrows. But again, looking good for Belgrade with a 2-point lead.
Hi, Fiona. I'm back.
Hi.
For better or worse. It sounded like you were on a good roll there. So,
yes,
you know.
I'm just. Someone is saying the man behind me is looking creepy AF. Just Bob Marley happily playing the guitar there.
Yeah. It would be a bit weird if you just had some man in a weird raincoat behind you looking at you over your shoulder, like some horror film appearing live on on the internet. I don't know if that's happened yet, but so I noticed Bob Marley earlier, and I did say if anyone mentioned Bob Marley, they should get the free diamond membership. But I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, I have to say I have a favorite for today. He's been with us for a long time, and I think he was one of my favorites during a previous week as well. So, but
Good.
We'll see.
And the prize we should mention, and this is going to go on for each of the commentary slots. I mean, we're on for about another hour doing the Eastern Zone commentary. And then after us, I think you probably mentioned who's on, Fiona, but each commentary session is giving away a diamond membership to Chess.com worth a fair bit of money. So, if you're nice in the chat on the Chess.com/TV chat, then Fiona may well reward you with a diamond membership. And apparently Malcolm Payne is in the running. Is that right? Is that right, Fiona? Yeah.
Right. And by the way, Norway Gnomes selflessly tweeting there 2 minutes ago saying, we're also cheering for Johannes sister to score their first Pro Chess win. Helps our tiebreak. It's currently a tied match for them.
In which match is that, sorry?
The Johannes sister against Amaravati Yodas.
No idea what you're talking about there. What is that there? Where's that? Is that match going on or like?
Yeah, that match is going on. The second over us.
Okay.
Amaravati Yodas against Johannes sister. Did I not pronounce that well?
No, you probably did. It's just I just for an Englishman, it's quite hard to understand some of these words as well. By the way, we have a game started. Just in case you're wondering what's happening, we have 2 of these games are going on. 2 of the key games, and Magnus has started, Fiona.
Okay, so let's go there.
And Magnus is white, so that's a big advantage, Fiona. I guess he's very good with white, isn't he?
He's very good regardless, but
yeah, he's pretty good. White, black, pink, orange. You give him the red pieces, he's still pretty good. But he's at the moment, just to let everyone know, he did drop a draw in the last round, in the last game. He took some extremely courageous and dangerous risks, and now he has the white pieces in what could be a key game. Because if he wins this, it gives his team a great chance of qualifying. So it's very, very tight at the moment. And we have a normal sort of position on the board in front of us, Fiona. Not much going on at the moment. Quite a slow build-up, as is usual. So
I mean, it's quite usual, especially between 2 such strong players.
Yeah.
Abhijit Gupta, we haven't talked about him much today, but he won the Reykjavik Open last year. He didn't have a great showing in Gibraltar recently, but still a very strong and very solid grandmaster.
I think Gupta, actually, didn't he win the World Under-20 World Championships or something
He did,
as well?
yes.
So, I mean, when you've been a world champion at any sort, okay, you've got, should I say, the proper world champion, Magnus Carlsen, but he's still in battle of the world champions here, Fiona.
Mm-hmm.
He's using Ari. Ari, the A-pawn, is just going for it.
Ari,
the A-pawn.
Ari.
It's Ari with an A.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's throwing it down the board. And, well, I have to say, if he's literally just moved his A-pawn all the way down just to swap it off, that doesn't make a great deal of sense to me. Sorry?
Doesn't make you happy.
It doesn't. No, you don't just throw Ari down the board to swap him off. You got to use him to probe. But I suppose the point of this is to get the black queen to an active square. Magnus still doing his very slow manoeuvring here. I like the manoeuvre of putting the knight on d3, Fiona, because the knight seems well centralised, and you can always go f3, kicking away black's most active piece here as well. So f3 looks like a good possibility, but still reasonably even at the moment, Fiona.
Yeah, very even. Shall we maybe check out another game of this match and then come back? Let's check out the other all-GM clash between Arian Tari and Sahaj Grover.
And yeah, this is a massive game. So it started off with an English opening, and have they basically the Norway Gnomes? Have they got white on every board? What's going on, Fiona? Have they cheated the system? They seem to have white in every game. What have they done? Is this because they're world champion? We're given white.
They are the world champions, so they get white odds on the top two boards.
I'm sure.
Of course, their top two players have the white pieces, and then Johannes Haug and Holm Stuvik have the black pieces.
Okay, so Rook FC1, it's a pretty standard English opening. We just saw Grover, who must be flying a little bit high at the moment because he did get a draw with Magnus Carlsen, and he was even pushing at one moment in that game. So that's you've got to be pretty happy with that result. And here, standard kind of position. White aiming to play on the queen side, and often you try to take advantage of the c5 square here. But it's one of those openings I don't like playing as white because I like having more space, and in this particular opening you give black the bigger space advantage, and I don't like playing like that, but it's a matter of personal taste, I think, Fiona. And
yeah, I mean, we know each other well. I think I'm with you on this. I'd also rather play with the white pieces here.
So f6 played, and now White's got to think about what is the right manoeuvre to do. I'm guessing something like bishop c5, or maybe even you do go for a knight manoeuvre. Try to get the knight to c5. This would be the ideal square. You can see that piece there for the knight. It's basically what you have here, reverse Sicilian. And a3 played first. This keeps
also
options.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Also makes sense. Maybe stopping a knight coming to b4. A little bit of a prophylactic move there. And maybe later on b4 becomes an option.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think we're in for a very maneuvering last round here. Even when I look at the other two boards, again we have to mention Norway are now a point up in the match, and it is crucial they take this one home if they want to qualify to the playoffs.
Yes, it is indeed. So they have that extra point, and
so let's go back. Shall we go back to Magnus?
Indeed, let's go there. And
something is happening just now. The knights are jumping in.
Very interesting, and you have to give credit to Gupta because after c5, Magnus going for a bit of a bind on the queen side, maybe with the B pawn coming out the board as well. Well, knight g4's been played, and that's a seemingly quite aggressive move there, isn't it? From Black, Fiona. Queen e2. And the problem is, if f3 comes, then these knights are going to look very stupid. So,
I guess you couldn't go f3 earlier because of knight takes e3.
Yeah,
I assume. So f3 must be a threat now.
This is kind of like one of those tricky moves that if I was teaching someone, I'd be like, hang on a minute, be careful. You know, you're a bit of a tricky player, but is this a superficial move? This is the kind of move that could explode in your face like a very old gun. You know, I mean, you're playing this move, but, you know, what are you going to do against f3? Is this piece just going to look stupid? I mean, f3, what are you going to do against that? I don't know. I mean, bishop h6, you could play bishop h6, but I'm not even sure if that bishop is very well placed on that square as well.
Yeah, I mean, this was a curious move, knight g4, and I'm curious to see what what Abhijit's follow-up is here.
I don't particularly like it. I have to, you know, I don't like this. It seems a bit superficial play, unless he's got some amazing idea. Well, he's gone bishop h6, so he's really trying to stop this move. But worst case scenario, can't I always go h3 here and force your knight to go backwards? Unless I have something stronger. I mean, h3, are there any tactics? Well, okay, Magnus thinks, well, I'm not going to go h3. I prefer my idea of going f3, because then I'm going to kick both your knights back. You know, or at least, you know, you're going to have to do something pretty bad.
No, I just realized that if I go back to f6 with my g knight, then the knight on e4 will end up being. I know I can still go to c3. I thought I was gonna be able to trap the knight.
Well, I don't think you can go to c3 because I have queen e1.
Oh yeah.
So if you move your knight back, clearly this plan has gone horribly wrong for black. I go f3. You probably have to go knight g5, but then I can just then Harry's going to come running out the blocks there.
It's horrible for black.
I think it's too artificial. Black's played this opening too artificial, and I think Magnus is just going to push these pieces back. So he's going for tactics. Okay, all credit. He's not going to sit there. He's going to try to at least keep things as active as he can. I think he has to play like this. He has to use the initiative, you know. So I don't know. Queen a1.
Yeah, I agree with you. He had to do something, but still, I mean, Black's position just looks so awkward. Look at this queen on a1, knights ready to be forked any second. I mean, the bishop on h6 is just slightly awkward.
I think it's just a bit artificial, isn't it? I mean, but you still, you know, at the moment, White's pieces are inactive. So, you know, with this move, you're trying to take advantage of White's pieces being on the back row here. Magnus clearly considering what he can do. Because if he goes bishop b2, queen a2, it's quite a tricky move. And it's all about the e3 square. Magnus has been trying to defend e3 so he can play f3 and win a piece. But he might not be able to hold that anymore. He might not be able to stop that f3 from going. So I don't know in this position.
Yeah, I'm curious to see Magnus' next move here.
Yeah. This is, just to let everyone know, there's four rounds. Everyone in the team, all four players play against the other four players, and this is the last round. Sounds like there's a dog attack going on outside. Something going on there. So, and it's key if Magnus wants to keep playing in the future rounds for the Norway Gnomes to not lose this match, but they're a point ahead, so they're playing very well so far.
And once again, we have a tweet from the Norway Gnomes. They have been incredibly active on Twitter today, and they're saying it feels like there's a world-famous Carlsen squeeze in Gupta's future.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose so. I really like Gupta's last move, Queen A1, because he's trying to, you know, his position. He's like hanging on the thread here. He really is, because if he can't create a threat with one move, then White will play f3. But every move, at least Black is trying to create some kind of threat. And to start with, what you do with your knight here, if you defend the knight with something like, I mean, maybe Queen c2, and I think Greg mentioned this in the chat, Greg Shahade, bishop to f5 could come in this position. You know, if the queen goes to that square, which looks uncomfortable because then the bishop's aiming at that one. And there's a problem. If you go queen b2, then maybe there's an exchange of queens and a knight takes e3. You know, potentially something tactical like that. I don't know if that works, but you have to watch out for some tactics. Queen b2, Fiona, would be the move I want to play just to swap things off. But then you're not on e3 anymore. So this whole plan is sort of, I think actually, Gupta's playing, he's keeping the game very much alive.
Yes, yeah. And once again, we see Magnus take a long time here. He's now gone under 10 minutes. I think he's been thinking for 3-4 minutes here. So clearly he's trying to come up with the best way forward. And he has played your suggestion, Queen B2.
Yeah. This is the kind of move I think you'd want to play because, okay, you may have realised that the F3 plan is not working. So you've got to change plans because Gupta's got active. So let's just try to exchange queens and keep things. And Gupta's saying, no, I'm not exchanging queens. I'm keeping myself as active as possibly because he realises against someone like Magnus, if you're going to give away the queen exchange and allow Magnus to have the space advantage because of the C5 pawn, you could just be worse. So Gupta's been really annoying in this game, isn't he?
Yeah.
He just keeps creating threats.
I think he has to because we have another tweet from Norway Gnomes saying we're also liking Tari's position against Grover. 2 more points is the magic number. Indeed, they are now leading 6.5, 5.5. So 8.5 will take them to a much needed team victory. And in other news, the Johannes sister, Johannesburg sister, have tweeted saying tied with 3 games left. Go sister. They aren't fighting for playoff, but they are fighting to avoid the last spot in the Eastern Division. So a lot of stake, a close match there as well.
The booby prize, we call it, so in England, or the wooden spoon prize. If you come last, you get the wooden spoon. So, I think if I was in that position, I'd be trying to get last place. Why not? You might as well be good at something. Good at coming last,
And Danny Wrench is saying, let's see it. So let's go and check out Arian Tari's game against Sahaj Grover. So Arian Tari with the white pieces.
And the last position we looked at was after f6 has been played. A typical English, as we said. Some more moves. a3, queen d6. Kind of asking to be hit by bishop c5, that move. And now, Tari, who's a very, very good player for his age, a little sneaky move. He's sneaking around the angles. He's pressurising the pawn on b7 and also maybe having some little threats against the bishop. So black defends the bishop as much as he can, and now bishop c5. White a little bit up on the time, and I would consider... I'd rather be white here because it seems like white has made more progress on the queen side in this position now, actually. He's done this thing. A typical thing you'd want to play with white is something like e4 and d4, these kind of breaks in the centre, but I don't know if they're working. Black may have just set up some kind of knight d4 threat as well. So still very balanced, Fiona, I think.
Yeah, the other question is, I guess you can never... Is there ever a way you can grab that b7 pawn? Not at the moment. Oh.
Very, very risky to grab that one at any point with a rook b8. So,
and he has gone for your suggestion of e4.
Yeah.
So I guess you will have to calculate that because you don't want that black knight to land on d4.
Yeah, I'm assuming if knight takes d4, white can always go knight takes d4 because that defends the queen. Again, if you play the English opening, it makes sense for you as black to play the Sicilian because the idea you see in action here is so common in the Sicilian with the black pieces. And there's one thing you guys should all try to do at home if you want to improve. Pick openings that work really well together. This idea of going later on d4, it does make some exchanges in the centre, and generally the exchanges of pawns benefit white. But maybe there's other ideas here because the bishop's been forced away from protecting this one. So you could even now, Fiona, maybe try to grab this pawn at some stage. Maybe take the bishop off first and then grab the pawn. So that's the other idea. D4 is theoretic, but I could go bishop takes bishop and queen takes pawn. Because my rook on c1 helps these tactics and he's just gone for it. Maybe this is just
I think we will see this.
And if you can take a pawn, you should take a pawn, obviously. And c7 is going to be attacked.
I don't really see anything stopping me. The question is, can black take on d3?
I guess he could, but then you can always take on c7, and you should be a reasonably safe pawn up. I think in those positions, take on b7, take on c7, trying to hold the extra pawn there. To let everyone know, if you can see the scores above us hovering over our head like angels. And the scores, the winning score for any team is 8.5. As soon as a team gets to 8.5 points, they've won the match. So that's something to look out for.
So the Yodas are very close.
They are. They're half a point away, and this is the second match. Mumbai Movers only a point away. Norway Gnomes.
I talked about this when you were away for a second earlier. I mean, what a big score for the Mumbai Movers, because I always hyped up the Regal Magicians. They've been very impressive during the first few weeks. So what a score there for the Mumbai Movers.
Massive score for them, yeah. And, we can have a look at the chart and see how things have developed at the end of these matches, because, of course, we're coming to the last segment now. And we're just seeing really this fight. I mean, your friends, the Ninja Turtles, and we've called this team the Ninja Turtles. I think that is the Direwolves, because each member of the Direwolves team is named after a Ninja Turtle. You got Leonardo, you got all Donatello.
I love the Ninja Turtles, but I'm still going to interrupt you for a second, because we have big developments in Magnus games. So let's go back there.
Okay. Wow, what has happened here? So the last position we had, it was like Gupta trying to get very tricky with his pieces, and he looked like he may be keeping enough activity alive. Will Magnus force his pieces back? Well, let's see. Look at this. All of Magnus' pieces have gone to the back rank. What a way to play for a world champion. It's like, you're world champion, you play like a 1-year-old. You put your pieces, you might as well put them back in the box. Is this how you become world champion? I mean, what's going on?
But David Pruitt's his prediction has come true. He was saying a second ago that Carlsen will be forcing a piece stack any moment now, and Magnus is a piece up.
Okay, so let's go with it. So, unbelievable play. I mean, only world champions can play like this. You basically play like a complete beginner. You might as well just go, don't follow any rules of chess. Don't develop your pieces. Whoever told you to develop your pieces are wrong. Keep them on the first rank, and once you've kept them on the first rank, push all your pawns. Push Harry, and probably Harry is the winning move, because now, from playing this, okay, he's coming out eventually. G5, G4, and this does look like two beginners playing a game of chess, but there's a lot of subtleties going on. Black has now been forced, as you said, Fiona, to take on G4, and is he getting enough play? F5 coming. Okay, so you got the F file here. You got a bit of play here. The Queen comes over to defend. So that's a very handy defender, especially if you could take on G4. I think it looks like Magnus's beginner technique has worked wonders. It looks like he really...
I mean, as the Norway Gnomes pointed out on Twitter, they posted this position after knight c3, and they said, is there any chance those clumsy pieces on the king side won't cost black a piece? I don't think so. There you go.
Yeah. I think, that was the problem. Magnus just literally stopped all of Black's threats, and then carefully took advantage of Gupta's rather artificial play. But it's strange that you can play such a way, and only someone as strong as Magnus can realise that breaking the rules. Yeah. You always find this, the major rule breakers in chess and in sport are often the people who understand the game the best, because they understand they can break what they've been taught to get the achieve goals. And here, well, he's just a piece up, isn't he, Fiona? I think now it's quite clear. Black only has one pawn for the piece, barring a horrible blunder from Magnus, and he doesn't really blunder that often. He does a bit though, but not that often. It's
very rare. Yeah. And meanwhile, once again, Twitter, the Norway Gnomes account, is informing us that Tari Arian has also won a pawn. Okay. So things are looking very good for the Norway Gnomes. Let's remind you, they just need 2 points from this round to wrap up the match. So I think it's looking excellent for them.
Certainly. And, Magnus will win this game, barring anything disaster. So I don't think this game is... Let's go and have a look at, Arian now, see how that position is going on. Because a lot of things are coming off in that game. At the moment, Arian has one extra pawn, the B pawn, but he's just played rook to c7, and that is maybe his biggest advantage here in this position. That rook incredibly active, and maybe he's just going to take this pawn here and go 2 pawns up Fiona as well. I would imagine. So 2 pawns is enough, isn't it, to do the job?
2 pawns are usually quite good. Yeah.
And that would take them to the winning score of 8.5. And this will be the first time Delhi Dynamite have lost a match, and it takes a world champion to prove that. I mean, just talking about this match so far, both of these games looking quite interesting. But I don't know if we can find the young prodigy who we mentioned earlier.
Nihal Sarin.
Yeah, because
I have his game open. He has the white pieces against Hamkam.
Okay.
Hamkam 98.
So just jump to that game now. It looks like Magnus is going to win. He's a piece up. Arian Tari is 2 pawns up. We'll go back to there, but I just want to, as it might be the last chance we're going to get to see this young prodigy for a long time, this guy with the white pieces is well worth remembering. I lost to him like 4-1 yesterday in Blitz. He crushed me like a fly. He put up a very good fight against Magnus Carlsen. And how's he getting on in this position, do you think, Fiona? Is he doing well here?
I think I was just distracted by someone in this chat wondering if my job here at the Pro Chess League doesn't require me to wear a hijab. But as for Nihal Sarin, you're putting me on the spot here, Simon. I don't know what I think of his position. I would say it's roughly equal material.
I love that. The get out cause. If you don't, it's equal, roughly equal.
Roughly equal. Equal material surely means it's around equal.
You know, when I used to write books, Fiona, chess books a long time ago, and this was when computers weren't so strong. If I didn't know what was going on in the position, or if I knew the side that I was writing the book for, let's say I was writing the book for black, and I knew the position was worse for black, I knew that this line I was recommending was worse, which I didn't really ever do, but I did do it maybe once or twice, and I would actually say, I'd go down the line and then I'd say unclear. I'd just say leaving an unclear position, and basically what that meant was I can't find a better line. Black is worse. I don't want to admit it because I'm an author. So if you ever read one of my books and you say the side I'm trying to say is unclear, probably it's a bit of a dodgy line. That's a little. Why do I just give away that I
why do you say that? Indeed, no. Indeed. Instead, tell me, what do you think of Nihal Sarin's position?
Well, I think he's probably quite doing very well here because black's pieces can hardly move. I mean, the knight on a5 is a very bad piece at the moment because this knight on d2 stops it from coming in the game, so it's out of play. The rook on a6, okay, I mean, it has some idea attacking here.
What if I play knight b7?
If you go knight b7 in this position, I don't know what you're going to do next after knight b7.
I was hoping to go to d6.
Okay, to d6. Well, rook b7.
He's gone rook b7 instead.
But now something like just check and I move my bishop. And again, it looks like black's pieces are just not coordinating. They're all like getting in the way of each other, So I think white's quite a lot better. He's playing a nice game. And and also he's played the best move in chess, h4. H4 is always a brilliant move. It doesn't matter what position you play it in. If you play h4, you're guaranteed to win the game. So he's got it in. So white's better here. This is a slight hope for the Indian team. I think white will probably keep pushing here. We've been told that Magnus Carlsen will win very shortly. So maybe we'll just go back to that game and see.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we had a tweet from the Belgrade Sparrows saying, "Oof, what a match we're having today. Shocks all over the place. Need a draw out of last 4 to win. Duo Alex striked again." And one of those Alexes is our team, our colleague, Alex Kolovic, and the other one is Alex Indic, the world's tallest grandmaster.
Well, we have some massive news here. Apparently, I'm just going to go back to move 40, because Magnus, who seemed to be doing very well on move 40, played King G2. Can you Adam and Eve it? Can you believe it? Magnus Carlsen, the world champion, who Fiona says never blunders. He's world champion. He doesn't blunder. My 2-year-old goddaughter would see black's move here. Magnus Carlsen played King G2. That is not a world champion move. I'm being harsh. Yes, I am. But amazingly, Gupta could have won the game here and maybe knocked out the Norway Gnomes, Fiona. That is a massive blunder. Fiona, can you see the win here? I'm being so cheeky.
Yes, knight f4.
You should be world champion. You should be world champion.
Unbelievable.
I mean, sorry, I just got to go back to that point there because that is quite shocking. In this, I can't actually go and show the move, unfortunately. But if people at home can see this, Magnus played King G2, and Black could have gone Knight to F4 check in this position, winning the game. That would have won the whole queen.
Unbelievable.
I can't believe Magnus missed it, and so did Gupta. Both of these guys just had a moment of blindness. Unbelievable, yeah? Unbelievable
indeed. And now instead, the Norway Gnomes have tweeted, Tari has won his game and Carlsen is a piece up. Norway Gnomes will win this crucial match. Oof. But what a turnaround that would have been.
That would have been such a shock. Imagine Magnus blundering his queen, losing the match and losing the match. Yeah. He could have lost everything. I mean, now he's clearly just winning very easily here because he's managed to hold on to his extra piece. I mean, I've never seen a world champion being a piece up and going on to lose, by blundering, in hardly any, my memory can't go back.
As you say, and there was me saying, oh, Magnus doesn't blunder.
And, of course, he now is going to win, and that brings them up. There you go. Magnus has got them to 8.5. They have won the match. But what a moment that was. What a moment. I mean, that has taken to 8.5. We've got to go back to that moment, Fiona, because that is just massive.
Let's go back,
On move 40 here, and this is move 40, it's like if you had a FIDE event, you make the time control, you blunder because you're short of time. Magnus is clearly doing very well. Black has just played rook to f3. Magnus now, he could do something else because Black's only got one active piece, the rook. He plays King G2. And here, Black could have played Knight to f4 check, winning the queen, and I'm assuming getting a completely winning position. There's still some hustling chances here, but theoretically, this is winning, isn't it? So, I mean, what a weird game that was, Fiona.
That was really, to give Black any chances from that position.
I know.
It's just unbelievable.
Shocking.
Should we go to the last two games from that match to see if Magnus' blunder could have made a difference had Abhijit spotted it?
Sure. So let's go back to the game we were looking at, and we'll just have a look at it.
So that's Nihal Sarin against Hamkam 98.
And of course, he's a pawn up now, or 2 pawns up. So it looks like he will win this game, I think, Fiona. Especially as Black's so short a time. We've been quite impressed with this kid, haven't we, Fiona? I mean, we think he's going to be a great player.
Yeah. Once again, we've talked about him plenty today, but what a talent.
Yeah, certainly. Very, very, very impressive talent.
And that leaves only... Okay, there is one... Let's go there if you can find a game between Aradia Garg and Johannes Haug, because there's still plenty of pieces on the board, and both players are under a minute.
Okay, another match was Kovalenko, who needs to win to save the match. So that was very important for the match. But okay, we can see...
Okay, let's go there. So let's go to Kovalenko.
Okay, so this match here, which we're now just picking up a critical moment.
And we were talking about this earlier, this matchup between Vidit and Kovalenko, 2 amazingly strong players. And so Kovalenko needs to win.
Kovalenko, look at the scores. It's 8-7, 8.5 is the winning thing. And if this is so tense, because if it is a draw, Mumbai Movers win the match. But if Kovalenko can win, it's a draw match. So he has to go for a win, Fiona. He has to here.
But look at this position.
It's only one side who should be winning. It's Queen D4. Yeah. Queen D4 would swap the queens to a winning ending. So it looks like the Mumbai Movers will go through.
I mean, even if Vidit doesn't win, he would have to blunder horribly, lose here.
Well, maybe match situation. He should have taken a draw with the last move by going for a perpetual because,
maybe he will now. But also the thing is, I'm never sure if the players are aware of the standing while they play their games.
No, maybe not. So they can just play on. And if you look at the time. There's still a
I
slight
think
risk.
there's no way he can now escape perpetual here.
Well, he can give up the G pawn, but that would be incredibly risky. And now, of course, the draw is guaranteed if Black wants it. But Black has to take a draw, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But he has to. There's no choice here. 2 pawns down.
That's a massive win for the Mumbai movers against the Riga magicians.
Yeah. And we can see now there's only the Belgrade Sparrows just need a draw to do their match, Fiona. And then we have all the results in the league this time. But you wanted to have a look at the last game in the Norwegian match.
Yeah, let's go back. I think Nihal Sarin is on the verge. I think Hamkam is going to resign as I speak. Down to 1 second, and that match is over. So the last remaining game is Aradia Garg against Johannes Haug.
Okay, so I'm just going to try to find this match now, and this is the last game of this key match, which the Norway Gnomes have won. I think that's good news because we want to see Magnus playing in future rounds as well, of course, because he's the world champion, and there's a good chance he will be competing in future rounds. I think he's getting quite excited about this competition, as we all are as well. And, well, this is a weird ending, Fiona. Very strange ending.
Weird. And so, remind me, so the score is now 8.5, 6.5, yeah?
8.5, 6.5, and this one...
So, I'm just saying that if the white player wins this, then Magnus' blunder could have cost him dearly, very dearly.
Well, sure. I mean, Magnus did drop a piece. Who knows? He might still have some hustling chances, but theoretically, he could have dropped his queen had his opponent found it. You don't expect world champions to drop queens, though, do you? I mean, like, if I was playing, I wouldn't be looking out for that tactic because you just don't expect it to occur. You don't expect the world champion to drop a queen. So I think that's the thing that kind of shocked. Potentially shocked Gupta into not finding it. But it does look like that could be a key game because it's...
I don't understand what Black is doing here, I have to say.
Well, now he's got rook c2, so he's h2, trying to queen a pawn. That's what I reckon he's doing. He's trying to queen a pawn. Oh, rook takes knight. Rook takes knight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But
what's happening here?
They're both very short time.
Game.
Completely random ending here. So,
I don't understand a thing either of these players are doing.
Well, now the king can come in, and that was a big mistake from white because you had to keep the king out of g3.
But look at those pawns. Look at those pawns.
This is not chess. This is literally Space Invaders now, isn't it? I mean, what? That one has landed. He's landed. The pawn has landed, but h2 may be okay. But then, okay, now you take the rook, and I think you queen would check and you win if you want to. Yeah.
So what did you say now?
Well, you can get some ending where you have a b pawn and queen versus because your queen would check in this position.
And this is going to go on forever.
It could go
and
on
meanwhile,
for a while.
I see that I had brought up the games from the last remaining match, and I see that GM Branko Tadic has beaten Jure Borisek. So that is the match won for Belgrade Sparrows. And in what fashion? I mean, it's unbelievable. What a big score they got against my dear Ljubljana Direwolves today.
The Ninja Turtles. So, yeah. It's quite funny. In this position, I remember I had this ending and I was defending this ending once. And the important thing to remember is where do you put the Black King? Now, the Black King, I believe, is best to defend this on one of these squares over here, funnily enough. Because, it's completely lost now with King A7 coming. It's just a little weird thing. You keep the Black King as far away from cross checks, you call it, as you possibly can. Because this type of position here. And we can now see that Magnus' game was critical, Fiona. It was critical for the whole match. Absolutely critical because such a close match. 8.5, 7.5. And if Magnus had lost, they would have lost the match. So,
What?
But, I mean, to be honest, though, I do think Magnus deserved to win the game because, Gupta was forced back. He was forced to do a dodgy piece sacrifice. So, I mean, he missed one opportunity. But all in all, I think Magnus was the deserved winner of that game.
Was the deserved winner. And Magnus today is scoring crucial 3.5 points for the Norway Gnomes.
Yeah.
So yeah, most valuable player.
Yeah.
Do you want to have a look at some of the games that are still remaining in the last match?
Yeah, it seems like there's only 2 games going on, but we have an all GM clash
I think
here.
there's 3 matches, and one of them is our teammate. So let's see how Alex is doing. Our teammate for Team Cheddleton, Alex Kolovich, playing GM Splinter.
Splinter. So they actually, the Ninja Turtles also have Splinter. This is like,
I think he's a new addition, right? We haven't seen Splinter before.
I think he is a new addition, so we have. It's quite funny. And who is GM Splinter? Do we know? Well, he's Splinter from the Ninja Turtles. We don't. It doesn't matter who he is. He's Splinter. So that's the most important thing.
He's the Dushko Pavazovic.
Okay, very strong player.
Very strong player.
And well, it seems now that we have quite a tough ending here. I remember like Keith always telling me, Keith Arkle, who's a grandmaster from England, specialist in these type of positions, he always liked having the 4 pawns in these positions, which when he first told me that, I didn't really believe. It depends on the situation of the opponent's pieces. If that pawn can get to a7, it could be very dangerous, but these pawns can create a lot of threats as well. So it's but also, what do you do against just pushing this pawn, pushing it all the way there and then queening? This bishop is a very good square.
I have to say, I am absolutely rubbish at these kind of endings. So I'm glad that this match is already over. I mean, 4-9. That is just a huge score, because the Ljubljana Direwolves were fielding the higher average team.
Yeah.
They had an average of almost 2,500 against 2,460 for the Belgrade Sparrows. The Ljubljana Direwolves had 3 GMs, also 3 GMs for the Belgrade Sparrows, but to win by such a large margin is quite impressive.
Yeah. It actually looks like, I think White's going to win this one. I mean, I'm wondering why White didn't play G4. You know, G4 looked like a very sensible move to me, just to stop Black's pawns from ever being dangerous. But you know what? White's got a very simple plan. He just wants to go A7, move the rook, A8, queen. So very, very easy plan there. And it's nice having easy plans. So it might be an even bigger winning margin, Fiona, for the Belgrade Sparrows. A massive winning advantage for the Belgrade Sparrows. And that is quite shocking for the Ninja Turtles.
Okay, so let's go to last crazy game. And that is the game between Goran Arsovic and Daniel Beletic. And we still have loads of pieces on the board. And a crazy position.
Okay, so we have the Sparrows. You can see we've got the logos here for this one. The Sparrows with the white pieces, and they are playing against the Direwolves here. And opposite side casting, leading to a crazy game. And, well, they're both quite evenly matched on ELO as well, I guess, here, Fiona.
Mm-hmm.
Rook H3 played. I kind of like, I think I'd take Black here. Black's got a very easy plan. He's got the open line. Just checkmate. I like those plans. Just go for it. Get all the pieces throwing at your opponent's king. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like when you have an open file against your opponent's king, in positions when you're trying to attack it, that's obviously gives you a nice, easy plan. So, like, you know, move the rook, go rook H8 and checkmate. Certainly a plan I can appreciate.
And by the way, just to remind people watching us, don't sign off just yet. We are coming to the end of the show, but remember, we still need to give away the 1-month diamond membership. And I see the person I've decided to give it to is still in the chat. So don't go anywhere. We will announce this within 5-10 minutes. Yeah.
Today's been an absolute brilliant day because, you know, you can just, as actually Ashi Bahi has said in the chat, if you just look at the scores, the matches have been, there's been 3 matches which have got to close, 8.5, 7.5. So this is the closest possible score you can get. And it's happened in 3 games, Fiona. I haven't seen that before.
No, I haven't seen that either. I mean, 3 out of 5 matches ending on the closes of margins. We couldn't really ask for much. Much more excitement. And Greg Shahadi is saying he's still there. To be fair, Greg deserves the prize every single week.
The free diamond membership.
Yes.
Do you think he'd put it to good use?
I think he would, probably.
You reckon? What would he do? Would he be like learning some opening videos and stuff? Proving his chess style? I mean, Greg's already a GM. He doesn't need to get any better, does he? Give it to someone who needs it.
I will give it to someone in need.
Okay. I'm in need of it. So, yeah. Well, actually, this is a nice little tactic in this game. For those of you watching, Black's fallen into a Queen G4 check. And a relatively straightforward. This pawn moved away. The pawn on E6 went to E5. And as soon as you do that, you've always got to be careful when you weaken your king somewhat, because you've weakened a diagonal towards your king. And White immediately played rook takes F6. So it looks like the Sparrows are going to win another game. Because it's just a piece.
Meanwhile, our teammate Alex Kolovic has won his ending. So what a crushing victory for the Belgrade Sparrows.
Did I say Greg? Is Greg only an IM? I thought Greg was a GM.
I wasn't actually, when you said it, I wasn't, but I didn't, yeah. He's an IM.
Sorry, Greg. Give Greg the membership then. He clearly needs to improve. If he's only a Patzer IM, I thought he was a GM. I didn't realise he was, one of the weak IMs. Give him the free membership. He deserves it. So
I'll think about it.
Okay.
And Matt Carr has joined us. So hi, Matt, saying enjoyable evening. Thanks, Simon Fiona. Well, thanks to you, and thanks to everyone else, of course, who has joined us once again. It has been a great evening indeed. We saw some great chess, some exciting chess, some blunders. It's really been fun.
It certainly has, yeah. And I'd like to say hello to Matt Carr as well, who's does a lot for English chess. So good to see him tuning in. And of course, Fiona, we are sort of nearing the end of our commentary now, because we can see all the match results that come in. Just to remind,
I suggest let's stick with this one to see if the Belgrade Sparrows can make it an even bigger victory, and just to make sure we time our transition nicely with the people who are following us. And the people who are following us are IMs Anna Rudolph and Lawrence Trent. So don't go anywhere. There's still a lot more chess awaiting you today.
Indeed. And we also, just to let everyone see, while this game goes on, we'll come back to this in a second. I'm only joking, Greg, as well. I'm sure Greg doesn't mind. He hasn't said anything since I've insulted him. I'm suddenly getting really nervous, thinking, oh my words, did I really insult Greg? What have I done? No, I think he'd be fine. He could take a joke. Oh, but just to let everyone know about the division we're concentrating on, let's just bring up the world map in case you're not sure, and look at what games are going to be going on after us. So I need to find the map. We are doing the Eastern Division, and the Eastern Division, as you can see, is, well, the eastern part of the world. Kind of like makes logical sense, that, doesn't it? Because it's called Eastern Division. And that's all the places in orange. Or ginger, as you like it, because we all like a bit of ginge. And we can see here that there's only one more round left in the Eastern Division. After this, it's going to be the teams in green. So we're going into Europe, Central Europe, should I say, and some parts of Africa. We're having London, some matches from the London team. David Howe will be playing in his first match, so I can't wait to see that. And that's going to follow the commentary for that straight away after me and Fiona. So make sure you don't go away. There's more diamond memberships to be won, brilliant games to be played, and it's well worth keeping tuned in, isn't it, Fiona, I guess?
It's really, yeah.
Yeah, so cool. And, well, it seems that White's still a piece up. Not much has changed here at the moment. Yeah. Yeah. And
so,
G4.
Still a piece up. And there's one out. The other game was a draw between Jure Skoberne and Alexander Indic. So, yeah, this is the last game. So let's stay with this one. Black is very short on time, down to 10 seconds. It's the last game still going on in our division. And if White can win this, he will make it 11.5 score for the Belgrade Sparrows, which...
Fantastic score. Fantastic score.
Yeah, absolutely.
And F5.
So maybe now is the time to reveal the winner of today's 1 month diamond membership. And one of my problems I've had for the last, because I mean, I made up my mind a while ago, and I was like, I'm just not sure how to pronounce it. And I even wonder if he's not taught me before, because I think I wanted to. He was one of my contenders a while back. So the winner is Rex EA Step.
Okay, well done, Rex EA Step.
Maybe it's Rexy.
Isn't that Rex S East Ep? Rex East Ep. I think it's got an East in there. Rex East Ep. And so he's won the Dime membership. Well done, Rex. Congratulations. But there'd be more of them handed away in the next session, won't there, Fiona? So
absolutely. And then again with us next week. So we will be back to cover the last matchup of the Eastern Division in a week from now. Same place, same time.
Yeah, and it's getting exciting because that is going to be the key encounter next Wednesday, because obviously it's the last match, and you're going to have a situation somewhere where one game is going to decide if the team goes through or not, and then we move to the knockout stages. So very exciting possibilities. Will Norway go through? Will Magnus play again? I mean, I expect Magnus will, but you know.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's obviously our job. And it's always exciting when Magnus plays. And just so to pronounce our winner correctly, it's Rex E Step.
Rex E
Step. So
I
think I got it wrong. I got it right the first time around.
Oh, okay.
Rex E Step.
Okay.
So well done, Rex E Step, and keep up the good work.
Yeah, good stuff. Well done on getting through.
For the whole 3.5 hours. So impressive stuff there.
Good stuff. And also, Fiona, I mean, I think we
White has won his game, so I think that brings us to the end of today's show.
Yeah, just what I was going to say. You beat me to it. I was going to say that, and yeah, that's it. Done. Bye.
So once again, many thanks, of course, to Chess.com and Greg Shahadi for making this happen. Thank you to you guys out there. Thanks to the players for giving us these exciting games to follow.
And do remember that after us, do stay tuned. There'll only be a very short break, so enough time to go and get yourself a cup of tea or a bottle of vodka, whatever you prefer. And there's going to be more commentary from in the basically Western Europe division with Lawrence Trent and Anna Rudolph, which is going to be great. And I'll certainly be tuning in for a little bit of that. Got some great players playing that one, proper top level world championship contender GM, so that's going to be great. But really, Fiona, that's us done now, isn't it? So do you want to send us out?
Yep. Okay. So thank you, Simon. It's been a pleasure as usual.
Thank you, Fiona. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. New brown Fiona. Yeah.
So thank you, people out there, and we'll see you next week. And have fun with the remaining 3 divisions.
Yeah. Bye.